What is up, everyone? How are you doing? Hope you're doing fine out there. My name is Andrew Esquire, and welcome to the Legal Mindset. We help you be your own judge. So today, I'm all in black in honor of our boy TMZ Draco, who fucking destroyed Elaine Bredehoff yesterday. To me, that was one of my favorite parts of this trial. So guys, we're going to have a really fun one today. I've got a lot of topics to cover here. A lot of stuff that you guys have been talking about, a lot of stuff that you guys have sent in. So that should be great. Today is the final day of the trial. This is it. The trial is over after today. Now, why do I say that if there's a day tomorrow? Well, that's because the case in chief, the actual witnesses, the evidence, any evidence that's going to come into this trial, it needs to be entered in today. Anything that comes in tomorrow, well, that's just the closing. Tomorrow is just the closings. There's no introduction of new evidence. There's no anything new is not going to come in tomorrow. Any witnesses, any final witnesses, they can only be brought today. So this is, in a way, it seems like this trial has been going on forever, but we're getting to the end of our journey. We're getting to the wrapping up phase. And really, this is when it starts to get crazy. This is when the pressure is on. This is when all the chips are on the table. And today and tomorrow are massive for whether or not Johnny Depp will get justice in this case. Because look, in the beginning, maybe some people could have pretended to be weighing this thing and saying, oh, well, let's see the facts. And I agree with that. But at this point, we've seen 99.99% of the facts. And let's be clear, they weigh in favor of Johnny Depp. But we're going to discuss today some factors. We got some interesting developments, some crazy developments to get into with this case. Guys, let me know where you're coming in from. I see people all over the world here in this particular chat. So it's very interesting for me to see where you guys are from. Shout out to Link 101, a new member. Welcome to Base Legal Mindset BLM, where you get free, there's a bunch of emojis you can use, the soju emoji, the toilet emoji, cat girl, vampire girl. You've got Adam and Andrew. And I'll be adding more emojis now that I've got more members. It's actually based, I can only add so many emojis based on how many members I have. But now that I have more, I can actually add more emojis, which should be fun. I see people from New Zealand, the UK, seeing a lot of people actually from the UK, which is awesome. Really, really great to see so many people from the UK, some from the West Coast of the United States. I see people from the Netherlands, Germany, Central Time in the United States, which means you're crazy. New Zealand, well, you're on my time zone. Denmark, good to see you from Denmark. And good to see everybody who's joining me from really around the world. We got Canada, Germany, Vigets. Once again, Australia, Phoenix, Greece. That's a good one. That's a rare one. Belgium, what's going on? And good to see even people in California joining us. Even California, Hong Kong. Hopefully you're not too locked down long. Hopefully everything is smooth there in Hong Kong. It was kind of crazy there for a while. Pennsylvania, Maine, North Dakota, Lakeland, Florida. I've been there. Liverpool, I have not been there. Rome, yes, I have indeed been there. So good to see everybody here. Portugal, hopefully you were not there when Ethan Ralph got his ass kicked today. That was a huge one. That was a huge little news item on the internet, was Ethan Ralph got his ass kicked in Portugal. First super chat of the day from Lena, which says, do you sleep? No, not during trials. I really don't. I nap aggressively. So I take 3 to 4 hour naps. So yeah, I took one last night, 3 to 4 hours, and usually I only get 3 to 4 hours per day. I don't get 8 hours any day. Now some days I'll get something like 7 because I'll take like let's say maybe a 3 hour nap and then like a 4 hour, and that's like 7. But that's not really how sleep works. So what I'll do is I'll catch up when this trial is over, and we're almost there. We're almost to the finish line. Oh man, I saw some Slovenia, Tokyo. What's going on? I should be over there very soon in Tokyo. Toronto, good to see even my Canucks up in the house. Michigan, Netherlands, yep, and Northwest Florida. Man, that is the Floribama side. Much different from where I was born in Miami, Florida, which is essentially Havana North. Let's see. We got one more super chat here coming in, which was from Milos, which says this live stream sounds more schizophrenic than Umbrella Guy and Waldman talking on Twitters. It is what it is, Milos. But hey, Thanks for joining today. So let me show you the first thing I want to show you today. And the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the line, because we know we've been big on justice for the line and checking out the status of the line and how things are doing. I've got folks, and obviously we have Ian, we have DUI guy, Ian Runkle of the Bailey, DUI guy, but you see the line is already formed here. So there's already people here who are in line right now, waiting for the trial, patiently waiting for the trial. You see the line goes so far back here already. So you've got a significant line already. So that's one thing that we can talk about. The next thing I wanted to talk about is something that you guys brought up to me, and you guys kept bringing it up. And because you kept annoying me with it, I said, okay. I will look into this. I will check things out. I will see what's going on with this, because apparently it was an argument that was made here on this podcast, on the Reasonable Doubt podcast with Mark Garagos. So he doesn't actually, I listened to it, and about halfway through here, it's about 20 minutes in, he makes a comment, and it's an offhand comment. He doesn't back it up by any facts or any law. All he does is say, well, I bet this trial is costing $500,000, $500,000 a week, and it's so expensive that I bet they're using insurance lawyers, and I bet the lawyers are paid by insurance. That was an offhand comment. Now it is by a well-known criminal defense attorney, Mark Garagos, who defended Michael Jackson, Scott Peterson, Susan McDougall, and Colin Kaepernick, or represented them, right? So mind you, criminal defense is a little different than civil litigation. However, I see where he's coming from, because there are a lot of cases where indeed insurance has paid for cases. Particularly back in the day, it used to pay for a lot more cases. For example, in Bill Cosby's era, it would pay for a little bit more. The problem is they've closed a lot of the loopholes which have allowed insurance to cover lawsuits. For example, Bill Cosby, his claims, he tried to get them covered by EIG, by insurance. They added after that a kind of sexual behavior loophole. So essentially, if you have bad sexual behavior, they can choose not to cover you. So remember, insurance companies will not get fucked. And insurance companies do not enjoy getting screwed over. They don't. They really don't. So if there's some sort of huge loophole that allows you to collect, whether that's through your homeowner's policy, which in the case of Amber Heard would be preposterous. Number one, I'm not even sure she owns a home. Let's be clear. She's been grifting from place to place to place. So I'm not even sure where she lives, or whether she owns property herself or has title to property herself, or whether she's just been living off the fat of her sugar daddies, whether that was at first Johnny Depp and then Elon Musk and whoever her next victim will be. But that being said, I would imagine that any loophole that she could try to exploit would have been closed by now. A lot of those loopholes have been closed over the last decade. So I don't expect that our homeowners policy is going to be, especially a routine homeowners policy, would be covering this. I just don't believe that. And I would need to see the policy. And Mark Garagos provided no evidence, zero evidence that any policy was covering this. He didn't show an example of a policy. He didn't cite an example of a policy that would cover this, particularly defamation aimed at another public figure. That's a whole different scale of defamation than garden variety defamation that might come up in a more minor sense. And also a defamation case, it's defensive versus, offensive. There's a whole different analysis you could get into if it's you suing versus being sued, right? So maybe it will cover part of it, but not the counterclaim. There's all sorts of nuances there, but I do not think insurance is covering 100% of this. And even if it did, I think that in the case there was a recovery against Amber Heard, the insurance would petition to not cover the costs. So I'm not convinced that insurance is a thing. Just want to throw that out there. Renee, super sticker. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. But yeah, that's my analysis on the homeowners policy. Ellie, oh gosh, I know this. Elki Prostowski. Although your last name is almost Polish, which is cool. Noon here in Austria. Grüß Gott. I've been to Austria a lot. I actually learned German in Austria at the Diplomatic University in Vienna. And I had an Austrian girlfriend. My first girlfriend was from Vienna. So noon here in Austria, having a beer while watching a stream. Isn't it happy hour time? Awesome work you're doing. Keep going. Awesome. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. Prost, I will say to my Germans out there. Got to shout out Mommy Muffins. Assassinated them. Amber was so biting her tongue seeing a beautiful, successful one owner like that. Oh, Chibi, 150%. What really triggers Amber is beautiful women, especially beautiful women around Johnny. Mommy, Dr. Curry, right? You know, we call her Mommy, right? Or Mommy Muffins or whatever you want to call her, right? Dr. Curry is smart. She's capable. She's likable. She's professional. She's ethical. And she's hot. She's got everything, right? She's the perfect witness, and especially to trigger Amber Heard. She's perfect. Same thing with Camille. Camille being around Johnny and defending Johnny and protecting Johnny and stepping up for Johnny, that 100% is pissing off Amber Heard. All these women around Johnny Depp are pissing off Amber Heard. And we looked at Kate Moss's testimony, and I may actually pull that up one more time. It's a real quick clip here. Let me see if I can actually find it. She only testified for a while, but I want to go back here for those that may have missed that and may have not caught the look on her face. But she had a specific look on her face when Kate Moss was testifying. Let me pull up the testimony here. This is actually from the Ricada stream. This is before I got on it. I was on this stream, but after Kate Moss, I was watching it while I was eating dinner. So let me show you guys this, and let me show you her face. So watch for the face of Amber Heard.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mr. Depp calls Kate Moss to the stand.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Moss.
Right.
It will be appearing on your screen.
All right, ma'am, can you hear?
Oh.
Yes, can you count to 5 for me?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
She's got a really sexy accent too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Confirm.
You raise your right hand.
Irene
Oh,
Myers.
You
sounds
swear affirm to tell
adorable.
the truth under penalty of law.
Irene Myers,
I
much
do.
hotter than
Thank you.
Johnny Depp.
I love the way she
Or,
plays.
the name
Ms.
of her.
Moss, or I should say, good afternoon, your time. My name is Ben Chu from the firm of Brown Rudnick. Would you please state your full name for the record?
Kate Moss,
Kate Moss
Miss
only
Moss,
owns
where
houses
do you
without
reside?
furniture.
London, England.
From
In a-
where?
in a
do you-
furniture-free apartment.
Gloucestershire, England.
Ms. Moss, do you know Johnny Depp?
Intimately.
Yes, I do.
She smiled though. She smiled right there. She did smile.
Mr. Depp.
Smiled. She had a little smile.
I had a relationship with him.
Did there
Look at Amber and just watch here. Watch how salty Amber gets. Watch this. This is like peak salt. Like this is the salt mine right here.
come a time when you and Mr. Depp had a
Look
romantic?
contemptuous
This is just
as Amber looked.
this is the look of contempt. This is a look of dislike here. I mean, you could not crystallize it any more than that. So that's what I wanted to show you is just how much she disliked Kate Moss, how much beef she had with Kate Moss. And by the way, the mainstream media has already struck back and attacked Kate Moss. We're going to get into that. I have a crazy article that just came out, which frankly, it's disgusting what they did to Kate Moss for literally speaking the truth in a 4-minute testimony, which frankly, it didn't say anything bad about Amber Heard. It just said, hey, Johnny didn't push me like this bitch said that he did, right? Amber Heard lied. Amber Heard lied. She fabricated a lie, a false story, and Kate Moss brought that out and felt compelled to testify. Testified. She's never been in any litigation or testified in any litigation in her entire life. That was the first time she's ever spoken in court. Not a litigious person, not a person who's got involved in lawsuits, unlike Amber Heard, who's been in trouble with the law multiple times before. Sad that mental health stigmas are worse due to trial. Yeah, it is true. But at the same time, you have to understand that, we need to recognize that people like Amber Heard who have these conditions need to get help, and they can't just be allowed to abuse people and get away with it because they have a quote unquote disorder, right? Whether that's HPD or BPD, you can't allow that to be an excuse to abuse somebody. That's not okay, right? That your disorder does not give you the carte blanche to abuse somebody. Joe's $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Susie said, after another night of no sleep, do you think any further witnesses will be called today? Yes, I do think so. In fact, we have an entire day, so there has to be somebody called today. So I think we'll get some witnesses today. Who we get, I frankly don't know, because also Amber Heard has time for a rebuttal on the counterclaim specifically. And there's some scuttlebutt, some rumor from our girl Shenlei at Court TV that they may call, it's possible they may call Amber Heard. Now, that would be a devastating error on the part of Amber Heard's team. But is it possible? Yes. I don't know what they're going to get out of her, but it is possible. It is possible they could call Amber Heard. It is definitely possible. And if we see that, well, it's going to get pretty crazy. The Real Winslet fan says, Kate Moss' testimony felt really impactful to me, even though I didn't, don't know that it establishes much directly. Maybe even though I don't know, right? So it doesn't really establish much directly, is what I think you're getting at here, Winslet fan. And thank you for that super chat. So it doesn't establish much except for the fact that Amber was lying. And I think that's very important. And I think you can see the type of person that Johnny was with. He's not just with 50-cent strippers like Amber Heard. He's been with very classy women. He's been with women who are established, women who have got their shit together. So because of that, I mean, you can see that, hey, there's no problems there. Johnny Depp has been in relationships with many women, and there's never been a problem before. And frankly, he was using drugs before too. I just got to say it. This isn't the first time he's used drugs, and certainly probably won't be the last time. But that doesn't mean you're an abuser just because you're using drugs. It's just not a thing. It's not an association that's realistic. Next, Globe Samurai said, hello, with the 500 yen. Hello, at an izakaya. People are looking at me strange sitting here drinking a beer with headphones on. Well worth it. Great work, dude. Actually, you know what's Globe Samurai? 2 days ago, I was at an izakaya here in Korea. Korea has tons of izakayas. And actually, izakayas are one of my favorite places to eat here in Korea. I love Japanese food. I love sushi. Sushi is actually my favorite food, period, hands down. I eat sushi every week, at least once a week. So I was at an izakaya 2 days ago, and I was drinking beer, having a little chat too on my my AirPods. And I don't care if people look at me like I'm weird. It's all good, man. It's all good in the hood. So enjoy that food. Kanbei, right? Tagam Nuttling says, KM, at least 20 years older and still more beautiful in external and internal beauty than Amber Heard. That's so true. Attractiveness is not just physical outward hotness, right? I think people there's a difference between hotness and beauty, right? And this is my personal opinion, guys. It's not a legal opinion. This is my personal opinion. I'm just going to say, you can disagree with me. I'm okay with you if you disagree with me on this. But to me, in my personal opinion, Kate Moss has beauty in spades. She has beauty in spades. And that's something that's sort of timeless, right? You can see somebody at any age being a beautiful person, right? And I think that she has just this radiance, this composure. She holds herself together. She looks good. She looks radiant. She looks young. She looks like she's a positive person. She looks like she's a pleasant person to be around, a fun person to be around. She just seems warm, authentic. That's kind of beauty. She puts herself together cleanly. Amber Heard, on the other hand, she got away with hotness when she was younger, right? I played that I showed that sign of her, but she got away with being kind of the crazy, BPD girlfriend who's going to give you the wild sex. But it's not going to get you through your later years, and she's got to transition there. And you can see Amber Heard is having a problem here because people aren't taking her. She isn't getting that beauty and that dignity that Kate Moss has. It's hard to describe as I sit here talking about it because it's a certain je ne sais quoi, in my opinion, right? It's hard to say exactly what, but right? Looking at Amber Heard and Kate Moss, the difference. To me, I see the difference. It's clear, but it's hard to say exactly what it is, right? Because, yeah, they both paid paid a lot for their clothes. It's not the price of your clothes. It's like how you wear them, how you hold yourself, how you behave. There's something to it, and I see that. So I appreciate that chat. And I think it speaks to that fact there. Globe Samurai, welcome to BLM. You get all the emojis. The soju emoji. Don't have a sake emoji yet. Soju emoji, toilet emoji, the cat girl, vampire girl, Andrew and Adam. There'll be more emojis coming soon. Soon. Just a dude with the 10 pounds says, Jessica Ian Vive, the infamous trans thing, was found guilty of assaulting Keenan Beckster from Rebel News yesterday. The trial progress throughout the day is an interesting read of woke gold. I will check that out because, guys, I need your suggestions. I need your posts. In order to get ideas for what to cover after this. I want to know what to cover after this, what you guys are interested in. A lot of you guys are international. I can cover international topics. I'm glad to do that. And I would love to collaborate more with people abroad because I plan on, especially over the next year, I'll be doing a lot of traveling. And I would love to cover some international trials as well. I think that'd be fascinating for me and something a little bit different for my channel. Wendy's Cafe says, you should change your whiteboard to add Flappy Fish Market. It's trending on Twitter now. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that, guys. So I always appreciate that. So we can get rid of this. Let's go with, okay. Let's go with Flappy Fish, okay? And let me add pleading mackerel. All right, and guys, I definitely have lawyer handwriting. So I mean, I know it's not great, but it's lawyer handwriting, man. No lawyer or doctor has good handwriting. Let me tell you that. It's kind of one tell is the shit handwriting. Nettie Daniel, thank you. I see another member here in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to BLM. JNL says, I mean, Camille can just own her. Oh yeah, Camille will destroy Amber Turd if she gets on that stand again. Absolutely destroy. Crusader Saracen says, oh Allah, take my heart, which has been hardened like a rock. Take it and use it to stone all these lying thoughts. Thank you, Saracen. You are always hilarious, man. I appreciate it. Lidwick Luves says, Dr. Spiegel looks like a male version of Ellen Barkin. Hashtag duckface. Honestly, Dr. Spiegel, there's so many comparisons. The Dr. Doofenshmirtz, Sam the Eagle. I mean, he just looked so weird. Quick says, objection, mischaracterization. Eve Barlow does not seem like a classy lady. I never said Eve Barlow was classy. I never said that. I said Kate Moss. Much different. Eve Barlow definitely does not have class. I'll put that out there. Crusader Saracen says, Allah bless and protect Kate Moss. Hashmallah Habibi. Kay says, could Hurd's team be hoping for Johnny to fall off the wagon to call him? He seemed to have gotten clear for a while, but I think he's reverting. I don't know. I think Johnny's testimony was a mixed bag. Most people who have asked, it seems like a mixed bag. He had some good stuff on stand, but he also had some moments where he looked a little muddled and didn't look as good, looked a little defensive. But I don't think it took much from the overall substance of the case. Zayden says, been doing a lot of work. We're building unbreaded.com, going to be a repository for the whole idea, but it was already banned off of YouTube. Glad to support. We're looking to share the Webby so we know how to manage bandwidth. That's awesome. Get the unbreaded stuff up because Matthew Harris, all the information regarding that guy is banned off of YouTube because it was too unbreaded for YouTube. Too unbreaded for YouTube. A lot of times these topics are too hot for YouTube. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm surprised there haven't been more strikes or claims or other issues for LawTube and for content creators around this. Tug did come on, that umbrella guy. He was on my last stream, my PM Eastern time stream, and he showed us his channel, and that guy, Tug, has 11 copyright strikes. That is an ungodly amount of copyright strikes, and most of them are from crappy corporations like your TMZs and everybody else that are trying to copyright claim stuff, which we now see. Well, it's public record. It's been played in court. It's been talked about in court. And so it's scummy. It's a scummy move. And that's why I was so happy that TMZ lost and got owned. They needed to get owned for being just, well, trash. I mean, they essentially were behaving poorly. So I think that was well-deserved, a well-deserved loss. Let's see what else we got here. Crusader Sarson said, how would you handle someone like Amber on Cross? I think exactly how Camille did. I honestly wouldn't have changed it. I wouldn't have changed it at all, frankly. But I think Camille did a good job. I think just go back and look what Camille did. She did not let Amber go. She did not let Amber just ramble. She cut her off. She clarified her. I would have done the same thing. And it had to be a woman to do that in the modern era. Hans Voss says, you're doing this whiteboard thing all wrong. It needs to be on the floor so you can bend over when writing on it. No. No butt streams yet. That's OnlyFans content. That's premium content. Sonia Florence says, do Americans just feel Brits are sophisticated more, well put together? Because we can say Gloucestershire and Scarborough. See, I can't even see that. You guys are all laughing at me right now while saying that Gloucestershire. I actually said on stream, there's no way I can fucking say that. But yeah, I mean, I think that it depends what type of accent, and also it depends what type of Americans, right? So if Americans are either very well traveled and very educated or very not. And if I think they haven't traveled, then they hear any accent, whether it's Aussie, Kiwi. By the way, I know we got my Aussies and my Kiwis out there. Do not hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it. Don't hate me. I love you guys. But most Americans cannot tell the difference between an Aussie and a Kiwi accent. I said it. I'm just saying, most Americans, okay? If you're well-traveled like I am, I've traveled, I can differentiate between different types of accents, right? Also within England, I can tell different sorts of accents, different regions, right? I can't mimic them, but I can kind of tell, right? Especially if it's clear, like a Scottish accent. I'm like, okay, that's freaking clear to me. A lot of Americans can't do that, right? So I know more posh accent, like a London high street accent, versus like Cockney, right? That's like very clear to me. So I understand like some of the social strata. So if you come with a posh accent, like it's going to sound, I think to most Americans, including the ones that know, it's going to sound better. So we'll assume they're more sophisticated. That happened with the doctor. Remember the doctor? The doctor that came out, he had a great accent. And I think that was much more credible than Dr. Spiegel, who was licking his mouth all the time. It's getting hot in here. Let's see. Seoul, South Korea is getting kind of hot here because you guys know I'm in Seoul, so it's finally heating up a little bit. The weather's still good, but I'm wearing a suit and there's a light on, so it's kind of hot in here. But yeah, good question though. Milo says, what do you honestly think? Oh, by the way, so the point is here, I think if you can get a British expert witness in America, I think people will give them a little bit of credibility there. Milo says, what do you honestly think will happen to Elaine's career after this all ends? Honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I think Elaine will do just fine as a settlement negotiation lawyer. I think nobody wants her as a trial attorney anymore. Like, she is a trial attorney of last resort. That's it. RIP. She's going to be just settling cases. I don't think she's fired anywhere. But yeah. Harasha Reddy with 100 rupees, I guess. He said, love your views, bud. I'm from India, and I'm addicted to this trial. I just hope that Johnny Depp gets his justice that he truly deserves. Thank you for all you do. No, thank you guys. Without you guys' interest in coming in and questions, we wouldn't be able to cover that like this. The reason why we're able to do this is because you guys support us and give us a reason to stay up all night and pay attention to all the facts, to find all the new information, to get all the new updates, to bring you guys all the information in one place. You can just stay tuned into LawTube. And between all the content creators on LawTube, you will be able to find people that are giving you accurate and up-to-date information. We already handled that. How would I handle Amber on Cross? Just like Camille did. I would not do anything different. Nettie says, please cover the Daybell trial. Okay, I will actually write that down. So I will put right here, Daybell trial. Okay, so I will look that up. Yeah, and check that out. Check that out. If it's a good trial, I will definitely cover it. Wendy's Cafe says, I'm not sure if you want to go down the Yanfif rabbit hole. The things he or she has done are gross. Look up Blair White and what he or she did to her. He got away with it too. Okay, I'll look that up on my own time. We will not bring that up live, Wendy. But thank you for that. Appreciate that. Daniel says, word has it that Warner Bros. Are avoid deleting Amber from Aquaman 2 by renaming her character Flappy Fish. Oh my God. There we go with the Flappy Fish, but I love it. Guys, honestly, I love it though. I do love that, the Flappy Fish. The Doers text, they were in fact incoming, and Johnny's team didn't realize that until later. Will they be able to defend the text anyway? They're in evidence now, but the evidence does say that they're incoming. So what they can do is they can't remove them from evidence. Too late for that. That bell has been rung. What they can do is they can, on closing, bring that up and call suspicion to that in the eyes of the jury. They can 100% do that because that incoming makes them suspect, makes them extremely sus. So they can bring that up on closing for sure. Some people say, oh, by the way, Juno, by the way, it's with a won. Thank you, 5,000 won. Also here in Korea. Some people say that JD's team brought up Johnny early to push Amber Heard to come back to the stand, as she has the childish need to have the last word. Thoughts? Yes, I think she does. And guess what? If that was the strategy, it's brilliant because Amber Heard is going to defy her team. She's going to say, no, I'm going up there. Elaine's going to say, I don't think it's a good idea. And Amber's going to say, shut up, cat lady. Go get some Purina and I'm going to go up on stand. I mean, she's just going to go. If Amber's going to do it, Amber's going to do it. Nothing is going to stop Amber. So I do think this might be a tactic that works, honestly. I think that is legitimate. That is legitimate. That may actually be a tactic that in fact worked. We will see today. If she comes up, that'll be great. I love how I just triggered the Aussies in the chat. Dingo baby said nothing like us. Hilarious. I love you guys. Listen, I love you. I love you. I literally was telling the story the other day about how my friend from Auckland, I'll always get him to say the word deck because he'll be like, yeah, I could fit 100 people on my mother's dick. And I'm like, your mother's what? A dick. And I'm like, oh my God. It's hilarious to us. It's hilarious to us. Of course, we're like 14-year-olds just giggling at it, but it's still good stuff. Would you being a man change the optics of the cross? Yes, a man changes the optics of the cross, especially in 2022. You have to be cognizant of that. Now, you can disagree with that. In fact, if we want to believe in gender equity, right? If we want to really believe in gender equity, then it shouldn't matter theoretically whether a man or a woman does the cross. However, I don't believe in equity without reality. I believe in reality as well, right? As equality to the extent it's even possible. So you've got to understand that the reality is in 2022, despite the fact that a man could do a fantastic job, the optics, the look of a man crossing a woman hard on sexual violence is going to be bad. And here's the thing. You know, Amber Heard, she's going to turn it around. The media will turn it around. They're going to spin it. They're going to be, look at this man who's in a position of power judging a woman. We've got a hashtag believe all women. And guys, the media is spitting stuff hard. I have an article here that I'm going to read in 1 second, which shows exactly how hard they are in the tank for Heard. And they're willing to spend anything to back Heard up. They will go to any lengths to back Heard up because they're in the tank for, and they've been in the tank for a while. Let's spit upon Spiegel's doctorate. Definitely agree with that. Liz Kimber says, okay, it's pronounced Gloucestershire. And it's Scarborough. Okay. And I'm Kimber. Okay, cool. So what's up, Kimber? Thank you so much for the pronunciation lesson there in the super chat. I appreciate that. You know what always helps me is hearing someone. Whenever I actually pick up languages easily, but by listening to somebody and then mimicking it. But I have to listen to them pronounce it, and then I can do it. Like when Kate Moss was saying it, I could pronounce it right after him, but that was it. I could not do it if you made me wait like 10 seconds. I forgot it. You know, I have to do it right afterwards. Imram says, hey, mate from Oz. I think it's the aura of KM, which is elegant and prestige. Yes, that's how I felt about her social presence, whereas Amber is a 50-cent hoe. I agree. Amber is a classless, as Johnny said, 50-cent stripper, which I completely agree with. She has no tact. She literally did the worst possible thing to him when his mom died, his movie launched. She decided the same day to issue the TRO, to file for divorce. I mean, that's a horrible woman. That's not somebody who loves you and cares about you. And to say that on the stand is disgusting. It's disgusting. By the way, Lubilia, welcome. Says second time tuning into you. So welcome here. Really, I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I appreciate that some of you are new viewers. I really do. It's good to see you on this channel, and it's good to have you tuned in. Lordy08 says, I've abused substances and appreciate how you've handled the topic in the trial. I'm happy to share my experience somehow if it's useful content. Lordy, message me on Twitter if there's time and if there's a place for it. I may have it. The Legal Mindset. So we'll talk on Twitter a little bit. If there's a time for it, we can bring it up. Maybe tomorrow I'm doing a very long stream for the closings. So what I plan to do tomorrow is do a very long stream. I'm going to start extra early tomorrow, and I may stream the closings. So I may actually stream the closings, or at least part of the closings, and just stay on, hang out, talk with people, have a really open stream. I'm probably going to invite a lot of people, a lot of you guys, even guests. Just come on if you want. Just message me, The Legal Mindset, and I'll see if there's time and space. I'll let you guys in to chat. I think that'd be nice. So maybe tomorrow. It's very possible. But I do think, look, I straight up say it. I grew up in Miami, Florida. I know a lot of people that used drugs. A lot of people, I would say most people have used them, and there's been no problems. I'm no stranger to say, yeah, I've smoked marijuana, right? I'm not addicted to it, right? There's some of those other drugs that were listed, and I've tried some of those other drugs, and I've never been addicted to them. I am in Korea, definitely do no longer use drugs. They don't mess around with drugs in Asia. If you guys didn't know that, they really, really, really are strict on drugs in Asia. But not that I would anyways. I wouldn't imbibe in that. My drug of choice is alcohol, and I do a good amount of drinking. Not to an abuse level, but definitely enjoy drinking with you guys. Actually, you know what's funny? Most of the time, the drinking I do here is on stream. So you guys are literally witnessing my level of drinking. So that's pretty much my level of drinking. So appreciate the pronunciation lesson, Liz. Eve Barlow's Rotten Crotch just put all the hardest ones for me to pronounce. So, I mean, now I can go back and be like, okay, Gloucestershire, right? And then I can go back. Worcestershire, I guess would be Worcestershire. So I guess that's it. Cincinnati and Ryle, I guess. So hopefully I got all those right. We'll see. 2X Vision says it's worth wondering if Musk did pay for Amber's lawyers, but purposefully chose those absolute milestones, probably giving him too much credit. Oh, sorry, absolute millstones. It's true. He could have. See, that's the thing that Mark Garagos, who was talking about the insurance, he didn't factor in Sugar Daddy Musk. And Sugar Daddy Musk can pay for whatever he needs to pay for. Sugar Daddy Musk has enough money that like millions are a joke to Elon. Elon could forward over $1 billion, and it would, if he wanted to, if he really wanted to. And, if this rumor is true about the kid, which is a whole separate issue. Let's see. Let me get these two more, and then I'm going to hop into this crazy article. So assuming that Rottenborn and Elaine haven't drunken Amber Heard's Kool-Aid and know she is lying, how do lawyers cope with the brutality of crossing a victim? Rottenborn's nastiness towards Johnny. Eliza, I'm going to be honest with you because I'm the only lawyer who's honest with you. Money. Nobody ever cries in a Lamborghini is what the expression is. Now, not every lawyer is driving a Lamborghini. In fact, most don't because they blow their money on stupid stuff, or they have debt, or they have other issues, or maybe they have a large family, or a gold digging wife, or gold digging husband nowadays. But I think that's really it. I mean, lawyers are mercenary, and a lot of times we're trained to argue both sides, and we're trained to be pretty objective about it. So I think in this case, though, it was particularly nasty and unmerited. The problem is it's not being nasty, because sometimes, for example, Camille Vasquez was harsh to Amber. The thing is, Camille Vasquez needed to be harsh to Amber because of who Amber is and what she was doing and how she was testifying. Rottenborn did not need to be nasty to Johnny. He did not need to do it. It was not helping. And Johnny was able to push back, I think, effectively. Sometimes it wasn't great, but I think it was effective. And I don't think that Rottenborn's tactic worked well. I really don't. I just don't. Let's see. Oof. Okay, here we go. We got one from Chuck Ross. Says, thanks for doing the morning streams. I was wondering what kind of input Amber Heard has of her team strategy. Great question. So, Chuck, a party has complete control. So you can dictate as many details as you want. Now, as a lawyer, when you take a client, sometimes you say, look, I'm not going to let you micromanage me. You got to agree to that or not agree with that. But most of the time, you can be able to find a lawyer that's willing to do it no matter what. And that's the problem, Chuck, is that there's lawyers out there that will do it no matter what. They'll do it no matter what. Lots of ones jumping in here, guys. Okay, So making me catch up here. Would Elaine being a woman change the nature of the cross? Of who? Oh, of Johnny? No, I don't think that would change Johnny's cross at all. At all. Australia isn't even a real country, unbreaded. This comes, by the way, if you guys don't know this, it comes from like, apparently there's like you can Google, is Australia a real country, and it won't correct you. So that's why that got brought up in another chat. Actually, Nick Ricada is the one that brought up that. I've been to Australia just for 2 weeks, but it was a good time. I was in Sydney for New Year's right before the lockdowns. Crazy time to go. What, if any, number of objections from outside the scope do you expect today, with Amber Heard's rebuttal being limited to a counterclaim? I think a lot. I mean, what, if any? No, I think the number is over a dozen. I mean, because it's going to be hard to keep it within the scope, especially if Amber Heard gets on the stand. If Amber Heard gets on the stand, I mean, double digits for sure, without a doubt. Nikki Poundtown said, I'd love to have a party with Camille Vasquez and Kayla McEnany under my arms. Let's see my exes try to start something. Oh my God. That would be it. That's the dream team. That's the waifu squad right there. Blue-Eyed Roof Korea in the base says, looking forward to Mindset and Midnight's Edge crossover. Yeah, next week I'll be on Midnight's Edge. That should be hilarious and great. I love pop culture. I love being able to talk that with other people. So I'll be on with them next week. Should be really fun. Crusader Saracen said, I believe surrogacy is generally an abomination, but in this case, it prevented an innocent baby from being born of Heard's own wretched womb. Oof. Oof. Wendy Cole said, in Canada, we pronounce it Scarborough. There's a section of Toronto that us old-timers call Scarbox, because way back when it was full of drug addicts and ladies of the night. Got it. I totally understand that one. Don Medina said, love how the TMZ attorney, I call him TMZ Draco, check out my Twitter. That one went viral. Got in how Amber Heard was the source of the video without saying her name. Yes, I think that was the biggest one, that it had to be Amber Heard that released it and authorized it. Hands down. Parquet the Parakeet says, Beauchamp Tower is pronounced B-Champ Tower of L. Yes. There you go with your pronunciations, guys. Elon gives birth to billions every day. Oh, I get it. Very good one, Beaver June. Thank you so much. That's hilarious. If the law doesn't work out for Elaine, I'm tipping Flappy Fish and Mackerel will be the first two flavors of her new cat food brand. Damn it, Daniel. Damn it. You're absolutely right, though. I mean, that's why it's hashtag Flappy Fish and Pleading Mackerel, baby. Can never turn down the Mac. And have we caught up? I think we're caught up. Yes, oh, wait, no, hold on. Zayden says, me and C. Goody are working hard on the Unbreaded website. We need help and are fighting an uphill battle. Can't afford more chats. Let me know how I message you. This is a great idea. Zayden, The Legal Mindset, at The Legal Mindset. Tell me in the tweet, in the DM, say, hey, this is Zayden from YouTube. So at The Legal Mindset, message me. I will let you know how I can help, right? E. Barlow's Rotten Crotch. Nice try to troll me. It's not going to happen. Steve C. said, sometimes being nasty can blow up in your face. How about your 15 minutes of fame? Exactly. That's a perfect example of how being a jerk can blow up in your face. Okay, so let's get to this article, because this article is actually really good. So, or by good, I mean bad. So as soon as Kate Moss testified, they put this out. Look at this, guys. Inside Johnny Depp and Kate Moss's wild fling, including sex in every Chateau Marmont room. This is so fucked up. And this is the New York Post, which, by the way, has been known to be simping for Amber. This is a pro-Amber. And by the way, it's a Murdoch production. And, Murdoch, you typically say, oh, Murdoch's evil, he's conservative, whatever. Those people that are on the left. But you see how this is aligning with all the other mainstream media news. All the news is aligning on this. Left, right, center. It's all aligning around hashtag believe all women, hashtag, Amber Heard, stand with Amber. It's really trying to bring up this information for Amber. They're trying so desperately. And just because Kate Moss was going to testify that, hey, Amber Heard is a lying bitch. But because of that, they go to smear her. Look at what I'm going to read this article because it's so bad. And look at them together. This is the 90s. They're having fun. They look great. I'm going to read the article, guys. This is so bad. And I want you guys to hear this. Kate Moss has never had a problem talking about Johnny Depp. In the mid-1990s, the supermodel was asked by a British TV host about how romantic the then boyfriend was her then boyfriend and revealed that Depp would like to surprise her with parties and presents. Oh, go on. What sort of presents? She said, he gave me a diamond necklace, which he had hidden down the crack of his ass. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That actually is funny. Years later, she reminisced about the jewelry. He said, come on, we're going to the Russian tea room for dinner. As we're going out the door, he said, Kate, I've got something on my ass. You have to look at it. I don't know what it is, but you'll have to look at me for a second. I'd only known him for like 3 months. I put my hand down the back of his trousers and pulled out a fucking Tiffany necklace. It was nice. It was nice not to find a boil. That necklace is fucking class. Damn. The guy literally put a necklace down his pants. What an alpha move. By the way, Lena says no one watches mainstream media anymore, and rightly, Lena. They should definitely avoid it. And Zayden said, on Twitter, where? Sorry, man. Love you so far, but where? Okay. Zayden, I'm putting in the chat, The Legal Mindset. Okay? The Legal Mindset on Twitter. DM me. Okay, brother? All right. So, diamond necklace up the butt. It says, it's probably not the story that Moss will repeat on Wednesday when she appears via video to testify on Depp's behalf in his defamation court case about his wife, Amber Heard. There he is. Look at how classy she looks, guys. I mean, is this not way different than Amber Heard style? Just so classy. Instead, Moss, 48, is expected to explain how Depp once swept her up and carried her after she slipped down the stairs. She looks beautiful in that. Look at how beautiful she looks. It's really, really gorgeous. Moss was drawn into a legal argument when Heard told the jury about a March 2015 fight during which she punched Depp, 58, in the face out of fear he was going to shove her sister, Whitney Henriquez, down a stairway. The Aquaman star said Henriquez was near the staircase in the line of fire trying to get Jordi to stop, which reminded her of the rumored incident between Moss and Depp. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this chemistry right here. You got it right here. Like she's got the hand on his butt. That's a power move right there, guys. It's a power move. All right. Whitney's back was to the staircase and Johnny swings at her. I don't hesitate. I don't wait. I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss in the stairs. See, that's where she fucked up, saying Kate Moss in the stairs. By mentioning the alleged misconduct, Heard inadvertently allowed Depp's lawyers to call the model as a witness. A source familiar with the case told the Post that Moss will recount an incident that sounds more romantic than traumatic. When she was walking down the stairs in Jamaica, she was wearing flip-flops and she slipped on the last two stairs. Johnny caught her and tended to her. Depp and Moss were the iconic 90s couple, decadent and volatile. Their passionate romance, which was sparked, took them from London to Hollywood to the Cannes cinemas, leaving chaos in their wake. So already kind of a little bit of shade there, right? The actor who found fame in 21 Jump Street was 31 and Moss was 20 when they met. I knew from the first moment that they were going to be together. Going here, Depp has claimed that he and Moss had sex in every single one of the 63 rooms of the legendary Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood. He reportedly filled the tub with champagne at London's Portobello Hotel for them to bathe in. Well, damn. Once again, looking good. Very classy. But their passionate rows with rumors of screaming matches were legendary. See, once again, now they're trying to throw shade here. In 1994, police were called to the Upper East Side's Mark Hotel where they found Moss and possibly intoxicated Depp in a trash presidential suite after an alleged fight. Depp blamed the mess on an armadillo he was hiding in the closet. No such creature was found. Okay, that is funny, though. That is funny. I mean, okay, it's an armadillo. I mean, that is pretty funny. A criminal court judge dismissed the charge on the condition they stay out of trouble for 6 months. He paid the Mark $2,000 in damages. Right, so here's them again. Man, everybody looking young in this one. So although the couple called it quits in 97 after 3 years in a rumored engagement, they appeared together briefly at the Cannes Film Festival in 1998, where Moss was reprimanded for wearing her bikini in the hallways of the legendary hotel Cap et d'Europe. In response, she reportedly trashed her hotel room and was banned from setting foot in the place for life. Perhaps she was still stewing over Depp, who had taken responsibility for their split. I have never gotten emotional over that woman before, Depp said in an interview. I have been so stupid because we had so much going for our relationship. I'm the one who has to take responsibility for what happened. I was difficult to get on with. I let my work get in the way, and I didn't give her the attention I need. I didn't give her the attention I should have done. Man, this is a statement you would never hear from Amber. And see, the funny thing is this periodical, the Post, is trying to make it sound like that's a bad thing. Like Johnny has a predisposition. It sounds like he's a human. Humans get in fights. I've gotten in fights. Everybody's gotten in fights with people. That sounds regular to me. He goes on and says, the whole thing about work was crazy because I never should have gotten so worked up over what people had to say about my work. Sure, I could care about my movies, but when I got home, I should try to leave that stuff behind. I couldn't do that, and I was horrific to live with. Trust me, I'm a total moron at times. Sounds like he was just a bad boyfriend or a workaholic or somebody who didn't have enough time. That's the problem with power couples, guys. And I'll tell you this as a lawyer. It's one of the reasons why it's hard for me to date other lawyers or professionals, because we're both busy. We don't have time for each other. A person like Kate Moss and Johnny Depp, they're both busy. They don't have quality time to spend with each other. They can't really develop a relationship because they're both busy all the time. You see them there. You know, she's on the runway leaning over to kiss him. You know, very good, good point there. Moss admitted that she struggled for a long time following their breakup, saying there's nobody that ever really has been able to take care of me. Johnny did it for a bit. So Johnny was like that alpha guy that was able to handle her for a little bit. I believed what he said. Like if I said, what do I do? He'd tell me. And that's what I missed when I left. I really lost that gauge of someone I could trust. Man, it sounds like she still loves him in a way. Like this is in 2012. Like it sounds like this is 10 years. Actually, no, sorry. This is 14 years. 14 years after their relationship. And it sounds like she still loves him or has some respect for him. Like that says a lot. Years and years of crying, oh, the tears. So despite the fact they both went on to wed others, they remain close. That actually sounds not that bad. So yeah, after years of stories about her alcohol and drug use, the model told the magazine that she had given up going to clubs and said, I'm not a hellraiser, but don't burst the bubble. Behind closed doors, for sure, I'm a hellraiser. So that's interesting there. Oh, and I think it's talking about her model daughter, because her daughter is also a model. Depp was with Paradise until 2012. And then there's, and obviously they have the children. And then there was Heard and the divorce in 2018. We don't know. I don't think we know who Johnny's dating right now, but I'm sure he's doing all right. So I believe Heard said, I did strike Johnny that day in defense of my sister. Here's her cosplaying as Colonel Sanders. I actually just had some KFC. It's fucking delicious here in Korea. The KFC is much superior here. Shout out to Korean fried chicken. So I had heard that he pushed a former girlfriend, I think it was Kate Moss, down the stairs. And I thought of that moment and reacted in defense of her. So that was negated right there. That was negated. Okay, so this is about the rest of the relationship. Actually, a good quote here from former fiance Winona Ryder. I was absolutely shocked, confused, and upset when I heard the accusations against him. I truly and honestly only know him as a really good man, an incredibly loving, extremely caring guy who is also very protective of me and the people he loves, and I felt very safe with him. You know what? I actually have I've deviated my opinion on this article. So in the beginning, when I was looking at the headlines in the first part, because I didn't read that last part before, I actually changed my opinion on this article. I think this article is being affected by the internet and also by the case, by the fact that we are covering this and by the fact that Johnny may win. The last thing a periodical wants right now is to get hit with a defamation suit. The last thing they want over Johnny Depp is to get hit with a defamation suit. And if they come out and have a ruling that per se what Amber said is a lie, they need to be very freaking careful about what they say. Very, 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 very careful about what they say, because they could get in massive trouble if they come out and make a huge statement and it's just bullshit. Right. And we've seen that in the past. We've seen that happen in the past where they come out, they step out and they make misstatements and they get in trouble for it. So we got some super chats here while that was rolling in. I can only see a pearl necklace. I want diamonds. Damn. Sorry, Beaver. You got to wait for your diamonds. You got to earn those diamonds. Murdoch's son is on the Tesla board. I did not know that. That's a crazy fact. That's a pretty crazy fact. I did not know that. That's an interesting connection. Abrao C says, hello from Brazil. Bom dia. How long do you think the jury will take to reach a verdict? What are the stakes? Well, the stakes are potentially $100 million. Wait, let me do that again in a Dr. Evil voice. $100 million. I don't think I did that well enough, but whatever, guys. You can imagine it. So how long do I think? I made a prediction that it is possible. We could literally see, especially since it seems like many of the jurors made up their mind already. We could see it's realistic to think that it's possible. It's possible that we could have a decision within an hour. That's how quick I think we could have it. Realistically, my bet is within 4 hours. I do not think this goes more than a day because I just think there's a holiday weekend. I think many of the jurors are over this. They want to go home. They want to enjoy their holiday weekend. They don't want to stress about this. They don't want to come in and get paid literally $3 an hour to sit in the court. $3 American an hour. I'm not kidding. That doesn't even pay for gas. It's disgusting. So, yeah, I think everybody wants to go home. They want to be done with this. They're over this. And I think they're going to come to a verdict quickly. The stakes are potentially 100 million because Amber's counterclaim is 100 million. However, I have already said this, and I have a video, and I stand by my video, that Amber's counterclaims are done. She has presented no evidence to support them. They are done. The jury is not. There's no way the jury would adopt them. Even if they did, they would get appealed and overturned 100%. The theory of damages is bunk. There's nothing that Amber can do on rebuttal today to save that. And frankly, I think the only thing that Amber's going to do is fuck it up today. I think the only thing Amber will do is fuck it up today by getting on the stand if she gets on the stand. I think any witness she brings is going to be weak. They've already destroyed her expert witnesses. I don't think she has anybody left in the tank except for maybe herself. That's probably it. So the stakes on Johnny's side are up to 50 million. So if Johnny prevails on at least one claim, and remember, there's really three. There's two of just garden variety abuse, which can be verbal abuse, defamation for verbal abuse, allegedly verbally abused them. So imagine that. If verbal abuse is enough, I don't think he recovers on that. But I think he recovers on defamation about sexual violence because there's no proof other than Amber's crazy bottle story and the crazy grabbed her by the pelvis story, the Trump story, right? Those crazy two stories are the only stories she has, and it's word of mouth. And nobody's facts stories line up with that sexual violence. There's nobody but her telling those. And she, by Dr. Curry, has been painted as effectively a liar, a projector. So I think that the actual verdict will come in favor of Johnny Depp. I'm 95% certain. My prediction on the damages is between $10 and $20 million. It could be less, but I'm just predicting that. That's my personal prediction. I'm more sure about the liability in favor of Johnny Depp than I am about the damages, but I'll give a guess, right? Because I want to give a guess. And frankly, I also want Johnny to make that money back that he lost in his divorce. No lie. No lie. I just want him to make that money back. Zayden says, last $5, Twitter DM delivered, how to make a new Twitter. I hate Twitter. Okay, that's fine, bro. That's fine. I'll get back to you. Don't worry about it. I got you. Nettie Daniel said, send a screen grab of Molly text to your Twitter. They are dated 2017 after the divorce. Okay, we'll check that out in a second after we cover some crazy other topics because I have some crazy other things here. Let's see what we got. I think I'm caught up here. All right. Let me just check here on my back end to make sure I'm all caught up. Let's see. I think I missed one from Steve C. So Steve C said sometimes being nasty can blow up in your face. How about your 15 minutes of fame? Oh no, actually I did get that one. Let's see. Yep, I got all the super chats. Okay, so let me pop back over to the article, or rather the information I want to show you, which you guys may not have seen. So here we have a filing. This is a filing, and this is today in the court for Fairfax County. So this is Johnny Depp versus Amber Laura Heard. I should say Amber Laura Turd. And the civil action, so this is this action. It was, this thing was filed. You can see, I think on the bottom too, it has a filing date as well. I think it was ordered on the 18th, so this has happened, but I couldn't catch when it was filed. Oh, here you go. So I think there was a filing on the 23rd as well, or this was put out on the 23rd. So this matter came to be heard upon defendant and plaintiff counterclaim plaintiff Amber Laura Heard's motion. So Heard motioned to seal records related to the juror's identity filed on May 16th, 2022. And upon consideration of the briefs and argument of counsel, it is hereby ordered that Ms. Heard's motion is granted, and that further, the names of all juries shall be sealed for 1 year following the conclusion of the trial. It's signed by Judge Penny Ascanante. You have the signatures of the counsel for each side. You have Bredehoff's side right here. You have Rottenborn. And then over here, you have the comment, which is seen and agreed, only accepting some characterization of defendant's motion to which plaintiff objects. That's signed by Brown-Rudnick, Camille Vasquez as well here. So you've got all of them in here. So everybody signed this, agreed to this case. So what's up with this? What's going on with this? Well, let's go over to the actual Virginia rule, right? So this is the Virginia rule. It's the Code of Virginia. So let's read about the code and why this was sealed. And I'm going to increase this for you guys so you can read it here along with me. So why was this sealed? Well, this is section 19.22633. So a court may, upon the motion of either party and for good cause. Once again, what does good cause mean? That means you have to have a good reason, right? You can't just do it for no reason. It's got to be a good reason. You have to have justification. Issue an order regulating the disclosure of the name and home address of a juror who's been impaneled in a criminal trial to any person other than the counsel or pro se defendant. For purposes of the subsection, good cause shown includes, but is not limited to, a determination by the court that there's likelihood of bribery, tampering, physical injury, or harassment of a juror if his personal information is disclosed. An order regulating the disclosure of information may be modified, and the names and home addresses of the juror in the criminal case may be disseminated to a person having legitimate interest or need for information, with restrictions upon its use and further dissemination as may be deemed appropriate by the court. Additional personal information of a juror who has been impaneled in a criminal case shall only be released. Okay, so this is not the case. It's not a criminal case. I'm going to skip that, right? In addition to the provisions of this section, the Supreme Court shall prescribe and publish rules that provide for the protection of the name, home address, and personal information of a juror in a criminal trial. Okay, so part of this is criminal, part of this is civil, but the point of the matter is that you can keep them for good reason. You can keep their identities secret. Now, what's the play here? What's the play here? Well, I think the play could be that Amber Heard thinks that if the jurors are afraid of this legion of online trolls, because remember, you guys are bots, you're Russian trolls, you're misogynists, you're crazy, you're far right, you're Russians. What else are you? Oh, you're all white, by the way. Even those that are not, you're officially white. Welcome to the club. Yeah, I think I've caught everything. So yeah, you're all these horrible istphobe words. And because of that, you're going to attack the jury if they decide in favor of Amber Heard. She's really, really, projecting that as her narrative, that the legion of people is attacking her. And because of that, the truth isn't getting out there because of Tug, because of LawTube, because of people are out there spreading the truth. We all know this is bullshit. It's virtue signaling. But hey, whatever. I don't think there's a problem. I don't think it makes them more likely to decide in her favor. I think it's a PR move for the media. I think this was a move for the media. Like, oh, look at Amber. Amber cares about the jury. Well, no, she doesn't. Amber doesn't give a shit about the jury. She just wants to make herself look good, especially when she's trying to come out of this as the victim. Her narrative is going to be, I am the victim coming out of this. So that's what I think. That's where I think she's going with that. So Zayden says, and I think I got this here, says abuse requires a pattern. Not sure how anyone knows will rule in favor of Amber. There's no proof of one instance, let alone a pattern. That's exactly right. Keith Adams says, why does the jury get paid so little for the amount of time they spent? Bro, I agree with you. I think it's wrong. Complain to the state of Virginia. That's a Virginia problem. They should fix that. They should not be paid so little. I think it's wrong because, once again, your job doesn't have to. So explain the law of the United States. Some of you are from abroad. I think Australia, you pay, I think like 20 or 30 Australian an hour or a day or I don't know what you pay. I think it's an hour, like 20 or 30 Australian dollars an hour. So the point is, and by the way, Australian attorneys or people in Australia, correct me if I'm wrong about how much they pay jurors, but I think they should be paid more. It's a state by state thing. Each state can pay differently. Federal court pays differently. So the way the law works in the United States is you cannot be fired. Your employer cannot fire you for serving on a jury. However, they don't have to pay you. So they can't fire you, but they don't have to pay you because you're not doing any work, which I understand, right? You're not delivering any value. I kind of get that. But the government should be entitled, if they're pressing you into forced labor, should be entitled to pay you something. I do agree with that. And I'm a pretty libertarian guy. And even I'm like, okay, if they're forcing you to do work, right? They're forcing you to serve, then yeah, you should probably have to pay. So I do think they should be paid more. It should be a fair wage. It should be at least something that's based on the average, the market average of that area. So they're in Fairfax, Virginia. So that market average is actually going to be pretty high, higher than the baseline for the United States. So it's going to be higher than, like, let's say $7 or $8 or $9 an hour, $10 an hour. Might be something like 12 to 15. Amber brings in a gyno that can testify to the carnal damage done to her hooch by years of overuse by hordes of men. Yeah, well, it would be even worse if she was, if the bottle incident was true. I'll tell that national populist. It'll be even worse, way worse. Steven Glasker says, Andrew, you're my favorite law tuber, bruh. Appreciate you and your show. Keep it up a whole buck. Oh, guys, I'm keeping it 100. Like I'm the law tuber here that's like, look, I really don't care. I'm going to give you the facts, and you, whether you feel like they're, nice or not, I'm going to say them. I'm going to be the one to show the memes. I'm going to be the one to go there. I'm going to be the one who's, maybe a little bit more controversial, but I think that's what you guys like about me. And that I'm not pulling any punches here. That I'm not, holding back. I'm giving you guys like the real story and the real angle on what's going on with this case. Let's see what else we've got here. So we've got Mark Martin, which says, when everything is over, what do you think will happen if Elon Musk is engaged to Amber Heard based on financial troubles? Engaged? Why does he have to get engaged to her? Why couldn't he just, pay for her, like sugar daddy her? I mean, frankly, about this Elon theory, I kind of do like it because, Elon, like if this whole Elon, devil three-way with Cara Delevingne and all that other stuff, if that ends up being true, it explains a whole lot why he's giving so much to Amber. It really does. It really explains why he's, putting so much back at her. If there was a kid, it would explain a lot in terms of the motivations there, or there was some other sort of, let's say, sexual blackmail. It would explain so much about the things that are going on in the trial. So I get that. I get it. Like I definitely get. I get what's going on, and I get that there could be something else there behind the scenes, for sure. Next, got a couple here from people abroad. So by the way, wherever you live, tell me how much they pay for juries, because I'm interested in that. Did you just call us all white Russians? I think you might drink too much if you think your community is a cocktail. Actually, I prefer black Russians if I'm going to have a Russian. Let me just say, I do like black Russians. They're pretty good. My go-to is an old fashioned, though. If you guys ever want to buy me a drink, an old fashioned is the thing to buy me. I like sake a lot. Like sake is like my go-to. I drink sake all the time when I'm not drinking. Like usually I do the soju's on the chats with you guys. Soju is like very efficient because like one of these bottles will get you tipsy. 2 of the bottles will get you drunk, and they're like $1.25 a piece. So it's great. Like the price is great. Zayden says, Your Honor, Conan the Barbarian busted me open, and I'm a woman. It's not my fault. Oh, crazy. All right. We've got somebody who's a juror. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Anna's Gameland says, I was a juror in the UK. We didn't get paid anything, but could claim up to 65 for each day we miss work. Crazy. Wow. So you could claim back $65, what, in like tax money or tax revenue? That's actually pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. By the way, I'm laughing. Justin says, Andrew, think you can be more controversial over Nick the Nose? I think I give Nick a run for his money because I have different topics that I'm willing to get a little bit more controversial in. I think living abroad, I have a little bit of a different perspective because like I'm over here in Korea and like I'm having conversations with people that are like way more realistic than a lot of the conversations we have back home. Like, for example, if there's a witness that comes on the stand, a lot of people are whining and crying. I had people in my DMs saying, Andrew, why are you talking about attractiveness? Attractiveness shouldn't matter. You're looking like a misogynist and a bigot and a discriminatory person. And I was talking about this with Christina, and we were both laughing about it last night because there's studies, empirical data that shows this, that people perceive attractive people as more believable, as more likable, as more credible, as more knowledgeable, as more smart, as more good, every positive factor, they're perceived that way. If somebody is more unattractive, they're perceived as slovenly, lazy, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just a fact. So look, when, I'm here in Korea and, I show the people pictures of, two different witnesses, let's say I show them Dr. Mommy, Dr. Curry, and Helen, and they'll say, oh, this one looks mean, or this one looks like see you next Tuesday, or, it's a really mean woman, they'll call it out. They just say it the way it is. And I'm like, bro, it's pretty straightforward. And I like that. I like that kind of edge and just the honesty. Because it's the reality. And I think a lot of times in the West, especially in America, US, America, Australia, the UK, we're not having real conversations. We're having fake conversations. We're talking past the points. And to me, I'm beyond doing that. I'm overdoing that. And on my channel here, we're about the reality and how the reality is what really impacts law, culture, business, and influences all of this stuff. And it manifests now in this courtroom, in this trial. We're seeing it all come together in this trial, which is what makes it so crazy. Crusader Saracen says, keep it real, my dude, and rock on. 100%, man, 100%. Heather says, what do you think could be the widespread short-term, long-term effects of this case? Do you think it'll go down in history like OJ? I want to hear your thoughts about potential effects. Heather, thank you so much. This is a great question. Thank you so much. Let me mark this one in the chat because I want to make sure I don't lose my point here because there's a lot of ones stacked up after this. So in terms of long-term effects, short-term and long-term effects. So short-term, I think this is the death of #BelieveAllWomen. I don't think it's the death of Me Too. I think Me Too will still be around because people are still going to try to report people. I think there's still false reporting out there. There's the Marilyn Manson case where we have what looks to be a very, very, very problematic report on Marilyn Manson. I know that Umbrella guy is going to be potentially covering that one. I'm going to follow up on that. Also, I'll be following up on the perjury cases for Amber Heard in the UK and Australia. I'll see what I can do about that. Hell, maybe I'll end up going to the UK or Australia if there's a perjury case there. And if I can attend, that'd be freaking awesome. I don't know if they allow that, but I would love to do that. I think that'd be awesome and something totally different to be able to say, hey, look, I'm live from Australia, doing this trial. I think that'd be amazing. But I think the short-term effect, though, could be Amber loses credibility. The mainstream media loses credibility. That's happening in the short term. I think also a lot of these people who are pushing to cancel people hard, I think that is short-term. There's a pause on that. Long-term, I think what we need to do is open people's mind up that men can be the victims of violence. Men can be picked and men can be targeted as well. Men can be the subject of abuse, just like women can be the subject of abuse as well. We both can feel it. Now, it happens in different ways. A lot of times for men, it's not physical violence. It's gaslighting. It's manipulation. It's the type of stuff that Amber Heard is dealing with. For example, imagine if you have a girlfriend that's cutting herself all the time and faking suicide attempts, faking abuse, faking bruises, filing fake DV charges. This is a nightmare, and women like Amber Heard will do that. Amber Heard just was really bad at it. But imagine if someone did it more credibly. Imagine how far it would have gone if there were more realistic bruises, if she'd really hurt herself. So I think that long term, I think we need to really take these things seriously. And I think Amber Heard, if anything happens long term, I want the long term to be that Amber Heard is synonymous with psycho and psycho relationship behavior. So whether it's a male or female, if you call them an Amber Heard, you know what we're talking about. We all know. We don't need to be told. We know. Just like in certain parts of the internet, we know what a Jack Murphy is, or we know what a Will Smith is. I want Amber Heard to be synonymous with psycho. So that's a good one. Thank you so much for that. How damaging was Morgan Tremaine's testimony in your opinion? On a 1 to 10, it was a 12. I think it makes both TMZ looked horrible for trying to bury it. So TMZ got egg on their face when they didn't even need to. TMZ got like a self-own in this. I think Elaine's team looked horrible. That shifty-eyed lawyer who was looking back and forth when they were talking about who issued the subpoena, and literally he goes like this. He was shitting himself over that one. So I think that they were mostly damaged on that one. So I think that Amber looks bad. I think it was very damaging. It was really up there, one of the most damaging things, and it made Elaine look like a fool, frankly. Made Elaine look like a fool. Not that was the only one, but still, it made her look like a fool. Daniel says, I just got called for jury duty. If it's between 1 and 10 days in New South Wales, in Australia, it's $110 per day. If it's longer than 11 days, it's $250 per day. Well, that's not bad, actually. That's not bad. And it gives them an incentive to hurry up. I like that. Brown Hughes says, if impaneled in Queensland, I think it's in Australia, the pay is around $145 a day. So it's actually more. So Queensland is more than New South Wales, but I don't think they have the modifier after 11 days, it looks like. Cool. So that's the difference even within Australia. You can see you guys are sort of like the United States. I mean, yes, your population in Australia is less than New York or Florida, but I mean the states seem to be a little bit different and have a little bit of differentiation, just like U.S. states, right? Blue-eyed Roof Curry in the base says, can a juror go public after? I'd be mad if gagged. It's not a gag order. But you can't. A juror can't disclose another juror, but a juror can talk themselves, and they might want to do that to get a book deal, because a lot of them will try to get a book deal after this. So it is possible for them to disclose their own identity. Do you like makgeolli? Love the channel. I don't like makgeolli, Donald. I fucking love makgeolli. I drink makgeolli on stream all the time. In fact, honestly, maybe before the testimony tonight, you're going to see me. I'm going to go get some makgeolli. Makgeolli is like a rice. It's kind of like rice wine. It's hard to explain, but it's clear. It's kind of like milky consistency, or not consistency, but color. But it is fantastic. It's cool. You drink it. It's refreshing. It's so good. I just love makgeolli. Nat Oliver said, jury pay, Queensland, 125 plus meals. Ooh, that's important. What if the jury wants to speak out or write a book? Are they allowed? Do they need to wait a year? No, they do not. They cannot stop them from speaking out voluntarily or writing a book voluntarily. They can disclose their own. They cannot disclose somebody else's identity. So that's another thing. They can't say the other identities. And they also can't dox them in their book. So if they were to release the book, they need to be very careful to not get in trouble, not dox anybody else in the chat. By the way, guys, 8,000 of you, forget 7.7, 8,000 of you in the chat. Please smash that like button. It helps me out in the algorithm. Helps me out, getting all this squared away. Really does help. Really does help, guys. And really appreciate it, guys, because I love getting love from you guys, information from you guys. It really does help. And I'm going to send the link to somebody here who may be able to come on. So may be able to come on in a second. He was just in the line. So if he wants to come on the channel, I may actually let him on the channel right now. Just get some more guests in here, because I normally have some guests, but today I wanted to start out solo. And it seems like a lot of other people are busy today. And let me text Jeff here. See, I know he's streaming on his channel. See what he wants to do. All right. So let's see. Ethan Flash says, I may have got my butt kicked a second time, but at least they didn't get my $25 Nike purse. Hilarious. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to show you guys. I'm just going to reveal the chat to you guys. This is where we're at right here, starting on this super chat, which says, in Denmark, you get paid 110 Danish krona, which is about 155 USD a day. Okay, that's pretty cool. Next is Martin Mandingo, which says, now that I'm white, where do I apply for my white card? And what are the perks? Well, the perks are you get to get demonized in American media. That's the perks. So welcome to the White Club, Martin Mandingo. Appreciate that you can now be demonized in American media. Abibinov Varna with 10 Aussie said, I feel like Jennifer Howell's testimony was crucial. Could the Johnny Depp team still use it against Amber in their closing? They can always use it in their closing. Guys, they can always use information in their closing. The closing is always available for them to pretty much say whatever they want to say. The closings, you have very wide flexibility in the United States. You can even do some speculation in the closing. So you can speculate in the closing, which makes it super powerful. And that's why it's a crazy powerful part of any argument. Laura Kavanaugh said, I was a jury in Ireland. Your employer has to pay you for jury duty. It's the law. Oof. Well, that's pretty good in Ireland. But obviously it sucks for your employer because they're out of pocket. So, I mean, it's kind of a give and a take, right? Jury IPV by Chinese women is extremely high. IPV by Chinese women is extremely high, says Lizzie with 2 euros. Well, yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, a lot of Chinese women, especially the ones that are outside China, they have a very particular type. I dated a Chinese girl in America. She was very, typically she was very dominant. I like out dominated her, but I saw how she acted with everybody else, and it was very, very controlling. Susie says $40 to $100 per day, depending on which state in Australia. We have Maverick, who says, you're the first person to super chat because anti-woke. Yes, thank you for the 2 euros. Sorry, 2 pounds. So appreciate that, Maverick. I'm definitely very anti-woke. Because remember, the reason why this was brought was because she was trying to be too woke. Ali says, in Ireland, you don't get paid for jury duty. Well, that contradicts what Laura Kavanaugh said. So are you in Northern Ireland or are you in Ireland? Like, is there a difference here? Like, maybe there is, because you're hearing 2 different things here. Pierre Gamont says, I think we all think Johnny might win, but what about Turd's next options? Can she appeal? Yes. What's the probability? I don't think it's great. The costs are high. So thank you for that. Mac says, after the Casey Anthony jury, I've become really nervous about juries praying this jury. We'll see. No, Mac, you're wrong. I lived in Orlando. I knew the prosecutors, Jeff Ashton and them, they fucked up with the charges. They brought the wrong charges for Casey Anthony. This may sound controversial, but I actually believe that the Casey Anthony, even though she was guilty, they brought the wrong charges. They didn't meet the burden of proof to be able to prove those specific charges. That's the issue in the Casey Anthony case. Hold on one second. I guess. Okay. So yeah, that was a problem in the Casey Anthony case, is they were required to prove intent, and they were required to improve intent. And that's the issue there. Daniel Chapman says, we are a federation. Our states couldn't have been more different during COVID, but you wouldn't have seen that in the mainstream media. New South Wales pays significantly less for jury duty if you're unemployed. Half of the money. Oh, that's pretty crazy, actually. That's pretty crazy. Thank you for this one. Estas, mi opinion. Appreciate that. In the state of Michigan, jurors are paid the $15 for the half day and $30 for the full. If I'm told to report for more than a day, it's $22.50 and $45 respectively. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. It's not bad. Let's see what else we have here. JNL says, do you think closings would sway a jury with the sneaky sneaks that are on Turd's team, being that they speak last if someone on the fence? No, they actually don't speak last. Johnny's team will speak last. So you'll get a rebuttal. Remember, you get a rebuttal. So they will indeed get a rebuttal. So I think Johnny's team will speak last, assuming they save some time, which they probably should, which they definitely should. So joining me now, I've got a guest, Romeo. Romeo, how's it going, brother?
Hey, pretty good, Andrew. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for coming on my channel. You've been giving me some good information. I shared your photos of the line earlier behind the scenes, so I did appreciate that a lot. What can you tell us about what's going on at the in the line? You were just there, right?
Yeah, went over there, saw Ian was being interviewed by local Fox 5, and so was James.
Okay, James from court?
Yep. The line was thinner than most days, but there was still more than enough people for capacity. A lot of people they were sleeping on blown like air mattresses and things of that nature, like pool floaty things of that nature. Had great conversation with Larry, DUI guy. He
Nice.
is a character. He's good people.
He sounds like a fun guy. Like it's like listening to him, it sounds like he'd be really fun to hang out with, like fun guy to get a beer with.
Yeah, there's also Vanessa. She's an independent news producer, journalist, lives out of New York, and then freelances. We were talking. She said a lot of the mainstream media, the main channels, they aren't doing anything.
Nothing
other than, they'll go down and do a 30-second interview of people in the line, and that's the coverage. There's nothing scratching the surface really. So she's been working on some stories.
Doesn't fit their narrative.
Yeah, it's not only that. A lot of these local channels, they don't have the resources. I have friends that work in various news orgs around here, whether it's NBC, Fox 5, or so forth. They don't have any backup for investigative research or work. So the street reporters got to go out and do what they can to air a 30-second, 1-minute story in the evening.
Right. And that's a lot of work for them. And they're trying to do other things and cover other topics that
Correct.
might be more in their wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
But we talked about different things in the case, like the jury selection is going to go down, I guess, tomorrow. Larry thinks they'll remove the 2 alternates and narrow it down to the 7, and then give them 3 days to stew on their experiences to start deliberations on Tuesday. Everyone was really well behaved when I was there, friendly, very outgoing, conversation. It was like a little festival kind of thing.
Yeah, it really is. No, I mean, seriously, it is. And it's like a little family, I think, once you get into it, right?
Yeah. One thing I pointed out to Larry, he didn't catch it, but Vanessa caught it. Remember this flight attendant, friend of flight attendant made that story about Elon Musk and the airplane incident?
Yep.
And Elon responded about, well, then she can try to identify a unique feature of my private parts. Well, I think Johnny kind of put that out yesterday in the text messages. He was talking about AH getting on that crooked thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's a tangled web between all these celebrities.
It's definitely a tangled web. It's also, I mean, Hollywood has always been very incestuous, right? It's always been kind of crazy. But there's a lot of crazy stuff. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Hollywood in general, and especially with this case. I mean, it's just been so chaotic.
And we talked a bit about the social media sentiment analysis on both sides. I pointed out my experience doing that work when I had a 26-year career in the government and did a social media sentiment analysis going back, 12 years ago, 15, when it first started. A lot of this, nobody had ever heard of it.
Right.
Depp's team did a better job. What AH's team did was just garbage. But I fault both so-called experts, because no real expert in their right mind would depend on Google searches to do social media sentiment analysis, because your search results in Google are skewed by previous search results you may have done on that machine, the market slant that Google pushes. They're going to push stories or search results that they're getting paid to push.
Right. Exactly. They're incentivized to push it. So it's almost like the thing with the data is that it's almost like, okay, you got to understand it's a pay to play system, right? It's become pay to play. And all these platforms, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they kind of have this lifestyle analysis. And by the way, let me bring in Jordi here. Jordi, I know you're like chomping at the bit because you're a data guy, so I don't want to like leave you in the wings here. Guys, Jordi before. He's from the UK. He's got some solicitor background, and he does data now. Like he's a data guy, so he knows a lot about this. So Well, I guess what I'm saying is like in the beginning, oftentimes like platforms will be very organic, like Instagram will be organic, TikTok is organic, but then eventually you get ads, you get people buying in, you need to pay people to rank, and it becomes less and less, organic. Facebook, I think, is a prime example right now. You have to buy Facebook ads. There's, a lot of paid features for Facebook, which also is why you lose adoption and, people go to the new platforms and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. In my experience, what we used to do, depending what the subject matter is and the area you're looking at, you're going to look at that unique information environment and what are the various sources, whether it's websites, Twitter, Facebook, VTalk, if it's the Russian stuff or a local Arabic. You're also looking at blogs, microblogs, all of that kind of stuff. And you do your own data scraping. You have your own machines going out there doing the scraping, and then you run those results against machine learning tools.
Right.
And then those tools, these things have been, a lot of people smarter than me, PhDs in human behavior, they help write these tools so they can filter out what are bots, and you want to get rid of that garbage because that's all being paid for by somebody. And you want to see what is the actual gut reaction of people based on certain emotional traits that will make somebody take action. You don't want to give credit to emotional traits that people really don't care. They might look and say, I don't like it, but it's not going to make them do anything. You want to go at those emotional triggers that make people take action.
The heartstrings. You want to tug at the heartstrings, right?
Correct.
You want to make sure the things that get people to actually move, which is usually fear or fear of loss. That's a big one. Or other things they can pull out, what news is death, things that are existential, right? And Romeo, before I get too far, because I think I was a little negligent. I see the chat calling me out a little bit. Can you give a little bit of your background, like who you are? I mean, don't dox yourself, but like a little bit, like introduce yourself a little bit, like who you are, maybe why you decided to get involved with LawTube and reach out to all of us and help the people in the line.
Well, I originally got on you from Scott from Future Conflict, and I made a couple appearances on his show. I'm retired Intel officer, technical operations. Background is tracking people down by their social media, internet usage, cell phone usage. So when you hear stories in the news about like the Stingray and Trojan cell sites, and so that was my background, technical operations. How do you go out and you have a target? You got to put together a pattern of life and then develop that. So eventually, if that person is an HVT or something like that, you can go take action.
Got it. Well, and then what made you want to get involved in this specifically? Because this is not, Amber Heard is not a high value military target.
It's because it's local in Fairfax County. It's really unique. And it's the complexity. You don't often get a 6-week trial in this. And
televised 6-week trial.
Correct. How often can you sit in your living room around the world and be so in touch with instant information?
This is like a TV show almost, that's been playing for 6 weeks, like a mini series, right? That's been playing for 6 weeks. Especially
when so much of the information, whether it's the court search to pull up motion filings and all of that, but also the data that's being put out there. A couple of the websites I gave you, you can, you're pulling these texts and you name it, videos. You look at, before even the experts testified, Ian Runkle had done that superimposing of the different pictures to show that Amber Heard used the same picture and modified them. She's pulling a lot of shenanigans.
Yes.
And getting caught red-handed.
So
yes.
Quick question for you then. If you were on that jury after you heard the digital forensic expert yesterday, would you be inclined to disregard a lot of the photography imageries that Amber Heard has now submitted based on the fact that he said that none of them can be verified whatsoever? And the overlay thing as well, which obviously proves that she has used the same image multiple times.
Given what I know about exploiting cell phones, because that was another part of our duties, you can't backups over backups. There's no way to exploit that in a technical capacity. It's impossible. It doesn't work that way. You have to get that actual device, as the expert said, with all the registry settings and all of that history that's preserved, and you have to you want to get a mirror image of that device. You never want to exploit the actual phone itself. You want an exact mirror of that device. And then you have to worry about, is that phone set to be encrypted or not? So the person's got to give you voluntarily, best case scenario, their password so that you can unencrypt that device, the image of that device.
That's the big controversy. The legal controversy is the backdoors that they build in, and what if they decide to hand that over to beat the encryption, right? I mean, that's a very controversial legal topic.
Right, but in this case, it's civil, and if you're saying, hey, okay, here's my device, you're the one. I mean, these people are the ones putting themselves in this situation, so they should have turned over the device, and then depending on the iOS version or Android version. Sometimes if they don't want to give you the password, some of these tools, especially the Israeli ones, can still rip them open.
Yeah.
And then you exploit that, and you can actually see what is going on.
Right. Let me get the super chat real quick, which is a good one to discuss. I saw the news was more positive towards Johnny after the bombshell testimonies of Kate Moss and TMZ Draco. What do you think? I think that some of the media is smelling that the winds are shifting against Amber Heard, and some of them don't want to be caught on the wrong side of a verdict that goes against Amber Heard, and then they look like they're fools, right? If they've only been putting out information that's pro Amber, then they're going to look a little foolish. So maybe if they hedge a little, they'll save themselves. But I don't know if you think a little differently than that, Jordi.
I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think the most worrying testimony out of all of yesterday was Johnny's, because it added no value. I mean, it offered more holes to the potential story. I mean, he did well at discrediting Whitney, which is always a good thing, especially after Jennifer was unable to do that. But the rest of it, but then again, I think back to when he first testified, and he started off slow, and then when he got into things, he actually started being a bit more coherent and a bit more proper with his answering. So he just takes a little while to get into it, I think, but that doesn't come across as all that good, if that makes sense, in my opinion, anyway. I don't think it's done too much harm in the grand scheme of things. Like, I'm looking at it from if I'm looking at this plus what I've seen the rest of this week so far, that is by far what I would say is one of the worst pieces of testimony for this week so far.
What do you think is so Romeo, did you have anything? You've been following this as well, and obviously
I didn't understand why they put Depp back on.
I agree with that.
It was massive risk with little reward.
Yeah, I would have put it on Amber's team to if they wanted to waste what precious little time they have, let them call them and let them burn up their clock.
Yep.
Why take the risk?
They've got 1 hour. So once again, let them use that.
And if yesterday, if Ben didn't put Johnny on the stand and would have forced Elaine to put him on there, they could have probably burned up the rest of Amber's team's time yesterday.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt,
with the same results.
I agree with it. I mean, there's no reason to put Johnny on the stand. I don't think they didn't serve a practical purpose. There's no information that we didn't know that we now know. I think it was more Johnny speaking his piece. Johnny felt like he needed to get it off his chest, which is fine. And I think in the same way, Amber Heard probably takes this personally. She wants to get the last word, right? Amber Heard wants to get her word in after Johnny spoke.
Hey, you know what? It's better to not put him up there. And if Amber wants to keep putting her foot up her own butt, let her get up there and talk all she wants, because everybody knows it's nonsense and she'll burn up her time. She has zero credibility.
I was disappointed with Neumeister, though. I expected him to be talking a lot about metadata, and he talked more about EXIF data, which is
You need to
relevant.
control your expectations, Jordi. Your expectations are too high.
My expectations for yesterday were completely off, though, because I said there won't be no Kate Moss, there won't be no Johnny. They'd do that today rather than yesterday, and I was wrong on that one. So,
I don't think he had the metadata to talk about.
No, and I think they limited his scope to the images, didn't they? So he couldn't look at any of the text messages or anything like that, because that's what I was expecting. Some of the other stuff, rather than, it was a very limited scope of what he looked at. And I would have liked to see potentially him go. I mean, he's a digital forensic expert, so I would have thought he'd have been able to look at things like text messages and that as well, because if they were able to download all these text messages off of people's phones, I would have thought they'd have had the phones to be able to do that in the first place. Therefore, for the messages at least, he would have been able to look at metadata and things like that, especially after Johnny had queried whether some of those texts had even been sent by him. So if you could potentially try and link some of those texts to times where it had been stated he was passed out or that somebody else had his phone, then I think that could have been something else that would have helped him a bit more.
I agree, because the metadata, if you have the actual device, you can see geolocation data that's embedded, date time stamps, whether it's you're using an iMessage format or SMS message format. You're going to have a lot of data embedded, as well as the photos. You have Amber Heard's devices, if you can actually get the devices, whether it's geotagging data, all that. And if you have, she's using multiple or one picture and she's editing that, what are the traits that are being passed along each version of that photo that she's trying to put in as different photos? Well, maybe they have the same geo and date timestamp embedded, and you can say, hey, how can you have 4 different photos or 2 that you're saying are different but have the same date timestamp and other information to prove that?
And I don't understand why he couldn't talk about the vector graphs, the chroma, and things like that. I mean, that falls into especially with digital photography, it falls under digital forensics.
Correct.
So it would not. They were trying to say it was outside the scope of his expertise, but it's well within the scope of his expertise. And the other thing I don't understand is, if he's done so much videography and photography, why didn't they enter him as an expert in digital forensics and photography? Because then that would have covered that whole outside of the scope of the expertise would have definitely been covered then.
And I'm going to tell you one thing. This judge is very light for qualifications for an expert. She's very permissive. So I think she's more likely to qualify than not qualify. So you got a good point there. I think it's based on some of the qualifications of these experts that she allowed in, especially Dr. Spiegel with the IPV thing, which I think is complete bullshit. If she allowed that, she'll definitely allow to qualify somebody for photography based on the experience that he had. So I definitely agree with that. They should have gone for that and just gone for the attempt to get that testimony in. I think it's material if the photos were altered. Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's other embedded data in photos that you could see if they've been altered. I mean, you can look at the raster, which you can't see with the naked eye, but use certain tools, and you can actually look at a video or a photo using various forensic tools, and you can see if there's a splice or there's a section of that photo that's embedded to cover something up or to add something. Because with the digital forensic tools, you'll see a very sharp line or box where something may have been overlaid to make the photo appear different. Kind of like when you photo on your phone, you don't want some person or something in the background, and you use an easy edit and you zap that out and you can put the rest of your beach scene. Now, to the naked eye, it looks like the beach with no tree there, but you use various tools and you can see where that's been kind of overlaid, blocked, and meshed in. And there was none of that. And I'm very disappointed in these so-called professional experts, because none of them, from the social media to the digital, it was very superficial.
Well, there's a point about experts, though, and perhaps this is something that it's hard for when you're speaking to an expert, like, you guys have experience on this topic, like it means a lot more to you. But one problem with experts is they can be too esoteric and like use too many like $10 words, technical language. You gotta understand the jury oftentimes has no idea what the hell you're talking about and like has no technical background at all. I mean, in this case, fortunately, it seems like most of the jury is young. So you can assume some sort of tech savviness, but also it was told there was like one Catholic school mom looking, older lady on there. So, her knowledge of technology and editing, may be a little bit more, blurry. I think about my own mom. My own mom like doesn't understand how a lot of these things work. She just thinks like, I take a photo with the camera and that's an accurate photo. She doesn't understand that it can be easily edited.
There's a great rebut for that, and that's what deliberation's for. It's for those younger jurors to be able to explain what all of these things mean to the older jurors that don't understand. And with your point about expert witnesses, I think they just need to stop hiring snobby people.
I agree, Jordi. I agree.
Everyday Joes that are experts in their fields that know how to talk in layman terms.
And Jordi, I went off last night on my PM Eastern time stream. I got pissed off because one thing you see them doing, especially on Amber's side, is using credentialism. And this is something I've seen as a trend all over, everywhere. The mainstream media does it. They do it in politics. They do it everywhere. And I think it's wrong and it's disgusting because it's first of all,
what's credentialism?
Credentialism is saying, you, Jordi, you don't have a degree. You don't have a certification. You don't have an
I get what you mean, yeah.
Stamp, right?
So it'd be like someone saying, I know nothing about data analysis because I don't have a degree in data analysis.
Exactly.
BS, because I do it every day in my job.
Exactly. You could have done it for 20 years, but they're saying, Jordi, because you don't have a degree, you don't know it. That's what they do with Dr. Curry. They try to do that with Dr. Curry.
Yeah, I've always been against that because like the forensic guy said, you've got people that have been hacking for years that ain't going to have no credentials, that are more expert in the field than he is.
Correct. Yeah, I talked to Larry about that today because Rob made a point yesterday, law and lumber, the population of this area being defense and intelligence contractors and staff. You have a lot of people that have been doing data science work before universities were even pushing data science degrees.
I was going to say before data science was even a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays it's very typical to hear advertisements to get a data science, computer science degree to utilize Splunk and Python scripts and things of that nature. Well, we were using Splunk and Python going back 9 years ago. I don't have a data science degree, but I had to self-teach myself how to use that and how to import data and write scripts. And so did others that I worked with. We didn't have anybody there was no class to go to. There was no nothing.
Right. And who says that experience isn't just as valuable, if not more valuable, than a degree program, which may not give you any practical experience. There's no deliverable in a class. Right?
And that's what I was just about to say. Having a bunch of degrees coming out your ass doesn't mean that you're an expert in your field. It means you know the theory of it. I know plenty of people that have gone to university and have then flopped in the workplace because they just haven't got a clue on how to apply that theory.
Yep. And that's what I saw looking at the experts for Amber Heard. I saw, the same thing they tried to say that Dr. Curry wasn't board certified. Therefore, she didn't know what she was talking about. They tried to attack some of the experts saying bolster some of the experts on their side by saying, oh, they've got these degrees, they've published, therefore they're, specialists in this particular area. For example, the IPV, Dr. Spiegel with IPV, which was, ridiculous, preposterous. But to try to establish that and
he really made me angry. He really made me angry because he was trying to say that all trauma equals IPV and that all IPV equals trauma. And that's not the case because whilst all IPV does equal trauma, not all trauma equals IPV. There are different forms of trauma.
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys saw, but so the forensic psychologist that testified for Amber Heard that was rebutted yesterday. What was her name?
Dr. Hughes.
Not Curry. Yes, Dr. Hughes. There's some history of her testifying in cases in New Jersey that went to appeal, and her testimony
Got thrown
was
out
just
in appeal. Yeah.
torn
And
apart.
and that's what I don't get. When she said, has her testimony ever been excluded? And she said no, you can clearly see that on appeal, she's been ripped to shreds.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen those decisions by the New Jersey Appeals Court, Andrew.
I've seen some of the decisions, but I mean, which ones in particular you're referring to?
I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to look it up. But there were a couple cases in New Jersey where Jordi, I think Jordi's talking about the same ones I am.
Okay.
I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 where she testified during the initial trial. It went to appeal, and literally pretty much everything she said during that trial got ripped apart.
Okay. Well, I'm not shocked. That happens a lot of times, especially with the sketchier witnesses. Some of them are just not used to pushback, right? So sometimes they're just assumed as credible and they're not questioned. A lot of times being an expert witness is really easy because it's not like a heavy case in contention. It's kind of perfunctory. They need an expert, so they come in there and do an easy job. So a lot of times it's a cushy job. This is one of the few times where you're really getting heavy pushback in a case, and it's a high profile case. You have like powerful experts on each side. A lot of times there'll be an expert on one side and no expert on the other side. And, that's this just shows that this is a different type of case. And frankly, I think it's a make or break, right? For Dr. Curry, I think she's going to get a lot of jobs after this. For Dr. Spiegel, I think if anybody calls him right now, they'll de facto look sketchy, right? That's my personal.
I think if anyone calls him, it'll be the board certification team taking away his board certification.
Honestly, I won't miss a day of sleep over that one. I'm going to be honest with you right now, guys. I'm not.
He broke so many ethical rules. I don't understand how he's still going to be practicing.
To see if there's any repercussions against his license here in Virginia, because he is from Virginia, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he should have some repercussions.
There are already people watching the trial. I know this because I've seen it online. Have actually seen that he was breaking the Goldwater rule and the forensic psychologist guidelines, and have reported him to the medical board.
Good.
I don't agree with it. If you're watching the trial, I don't necessarily agree, because there could be things that aren't being shown. But if you're actually there in the courtroom, I think that's different. If you're like watching it direct, or if you're actually a party in it, or one of the other, for example, the British, New Zealand, American doctor that came on as part of Johnny's team to rebut Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Someone like him, he's obviously a professional. He knows flat out that things have been violated.
I get what you're saying. You got to know per se. Yeah, I get what you're saying. If it's my presumption is what you're saying is if it's a person with knowledge of the rule, who understands the rule, and is a professional, like let's say you're a doctor and you see somebody else as a doctor and they violated doctor. For example, I'm a lawyer. I know when another lawyer has violated an ethical rule. So I would say I'm comfortable filing a bar complaint against a lawyer that I know has violated our professional rules, particularly if they're a Florida lawyer, because I'm a Florida lawyer as well. I know those rules. So if there's a Florida lawyer, whether or not they're watching, if I was like watching a Florida lawyer in court, and it was egregious, I would feel comfortable filing that complaint because I know what our rules are, right? And there's some behavior that's inexcusable, right? I'm not sure where the Goldwater rule, because I'm not, that's not my field. I'm not sure where that is on the ethical hierarchy.
No, that's it. Exactly the same here.
Like, I have no clue.
Wouldn't feel comfortable reporting him because it's like, I'm not sure whether that's part of their license or whether it's just an add-on rule that you should stick to but don't have to.
Right. Or like you said, a guideline, right? A guideline.
Yeah.
A guideline.
Question for you. For background info to understand the case better, have you or anybody else on the LawTube had a chance to review what the filings were?
Yes. We've got
No, specifically for the denial for Depp to be psychologically evaluated, and then the granting for
Amber Heard,
the arguments. I have not seen or any. Obviously there had to be something where the court felt she really needed to be evaluated, and Johnny didn't.
So the reason being is Johnny isn't bringing his mental condition or mental issues into play in his case in chief, whereas Amber is clearly saying that the abuse has caused PTSD and things like that. So that's why the court ordered hers, because she is clearly using it as part of her whether it's part of her defense to Johnny's claims or whether
Or
it's part of her
counterclaim. It's part of her
counterclaim.
counterclaim. It is part of her counterclaim. It's material. PTSD is material to her.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it's because it's part of her counterclaim. That's why it was court ordered.
Was AH's team pushing to have Johnny evaluated?
Yes, but again, because Johnny's not using it as part of his claim, there was
Yes,
no
so
reason
let
for the
me,
court
because
to...
you guys, so let me show you guys, because you guys probably know about this already, but obviously all the they try to make a lot of the documents public. You can go find them. Like if you go to the Fairfax County website, like here's Depp versus Heard, you can go to the high profile cases, right? So you can go down here. Now I haven't looked through to find this one specifically.
But a lot of times motions that contain medical information won't be posted.
Yeah, I did not find a motion to deny that particular one here.
Yeah,
so maybe it wasn't filed.
Some things for privacy reasons they don't put up.
Yeah, but obviously you can see, guys, there's all the information here. So you want to go through all the documents all the way back to, look at here. We're going to 2020. 2019 filings. Look at this. So you want to go all the way back to the original complaint filed in 3/1/19. You can go all that way back. So that's on the website, right? And I have that in the description. I'll put.
How many counterclaims did AH initially bring? Because I know she got down to I know she got down to 3, but a load of them got knocked off, didn't
Well,
they?
hold on. She had 3 different counts, and then so 2 of the whole counts got knocked out, and then within that one single count, there was only 3 like sub claims within that count. So, like honestly, about 4/5 of what she counterclaimed for was blown out of the water. She's down to literally the Waldman statements. So
I'm still really pissed about those statements. I really am. I don't.
Yeah.
This judge is brilliant. Don't get me wrong. And if I was trying a case or if I was being tried against, I would want to have this judge. But the scope of an attorney's employment is not a statement of fact. It's a statement of law.
I agree with that. It's not something that's really up to debate or up to discussion or up to consideration at all whatsoever. I definitely agree with that, Jordi. Let's get let me grab some of these super chats. Maybe you guys can help me answer some of them because I got a bunch of questions here. So we were talking about jury pay before you guys came on, and Nathan said DC requires all employers to pay 100% for jury duty. Jordi, I have a quick question. Where you're at in the UK, what do you get paid if you have to do jury duty? Do you get paid?
Let me check that one out because it has checked. Oh, here we go. So you're not paid for doing jury service, but you can claim some money back if your earnings are affected. For each day you're at court, this comes directly from the gov.uk website, by the way. For each day you're at court, you can usually claim up to £64.95, so around about $75. To help cover your loss of earnings and cost of any childcare outside your usual arrangements. You also get £5.71 for food and drink, so that's around about $7 or $8. And then the cost of travel to and from court. So, for example, if it costs me $30 in petrol to get to court and back, they'll cover that as well.
How do you get that money? How do you claim that money? Is that a government thing? You just go and
you get told how to claim expenses after your jury service has ended. In terms of taking time off work, you have to give your jury summons to the employer. The employer must let you have time off work, but can ask you to delay your jury service if it's going to have a serious effect on the business. Because in the UK, you can reject jury service once. So the first time you get called, you can reject it. And then the second time, you basically have to do it. And if you're not allowed to take time off work for jury service, you can then go to an employment tribunal and say they're breaking the rules and everything like that. Your employer can choose whether or not to pay you during your service. So, for example, my employer would, as long as I was taking it as holiday pay. But if I didn't have any holiday days left, then it'd be unpaid leave.
Sounds good. Jeff, welcome to Legal Vices.
Hey.
Welcome back. How's it going? So,
It's
Jeff,
going
hey,
good.
we're talking about jury pay earlier. Do you know, because you've been in Korea forever, do you know, like, do they pay jurors in Korea? Like, what's the deal with that here? Do you have any knowledge of that?
I've never actually seen a jury here in Korea. They have a jury system,
But
I've
you've never seen one impaneled.
Yeah, I've never actually seen a jury here. I assume they would get paid something for travel. I have no idea. Actually, I'm just
There's no way they work. Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's Korea. There's no way they're working for free. But
for a cup of ramen and some rice or something. Is my mic coming in? Is my mic coming in as hot as it sounds?
No, you're good, bro.
Okay.
Let me check your volume. I think I got it on self-regulating here.
And in-
So yeah,
Okay.
you're adjusted, bro. So you're good.
All
in
right,
the
yes.
UK, there's different tiers of jury pay as well.
Okay.
Now, these guys
super
are
chat-
getting $30 a day, right?
Yeah, these guys are $30
a
according to
day,
Rob,
which
a
comes
day,
out to
yeah.
like $3 an hour, right?
Yeah.
It's real bad.
It's a lot
real
less
bad.
than the UK, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's horrible. Honestly, that's not even. It's not
Especially-
even gas.
Especially considering they're spending all day there. So if you're spending all day in court, for the first 10 days, you get the £65 to $75 roughly that I said. And if it lasts longer than 10 days, which is 10 working days, which this trial definitely has, they can claim for a whole day up to £130, so like $160 probably around about there.
Gotcha.
Well, and then you're looking at the lawyers who are making millions while you're getting $30.
It is, and then the expert witnesses too that they're making a bunch of money for saying absolute jack shit. It's a very interesting system. Minsky, thank you so much for the congrats on 60K subs. Says she's been a busy bee lately, and I want to thank you and all the law tubers out there for giving a recap. And it's been fun watching your explanations are both informative, educational, and I hope entertaining. I'm reading over here my list. Dawa School of School says, I dated a Chinese woman. After we got engaged, she became aggressive, violent with hitting, kicking, and even biting. After she got upset, she would threaten to call the police to stop her. That goes back to an earlier comment I had about a Chinese girlfriend.
Everybody
now
was kung fu fighting.
She was not biting me unless I asked for it. So I think, but other than that, I understand though. Some girls can be pretty aggressive.
Here's a question for you, Andrew.
Yes.
What do you think of Elaine trying to say to every new witness that comes up, oh, you're just here to get your 15 minutes of fame?
Oh my fucking God. That
You
is so.
think she would have learned after the first 2 times.
She got owned on that. Like, how can you
Completely-
come back and try that again?
Well, you
Like-
could say that about you hiring Miss Heard. That was
Yeah.
brilliant. That was fantastic.
Just destroyed her on that. Like, there's no recovery from that. She's like, she should be hospitalized for that burn.
Well,
You know,
that's
I
the
mean-
problem. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Eat some Amica cream for that burn.
Yeah, that's the problem with their whole strategy from day one is this unnecessary bitchiness.
Yeah.
And there's so many other ways to handling that. She could have talked to Draco Malfoy there and said,
Yep.
now, you used to work for TMZ, right? Yeah. And you don't work there anymore, right? What? Do you think testifying here would be better or worse for your future handling? Do you think you stand to benefit more from the exposure to this than if you weren't here?
That would have
You can do it that
backfired
way.
because he'd have answered it wouldn't have helped him, and it would have backfired because of breach of NDA. And he even said it, didn't he? That being there is doing nothing for him because of how litigious TMZ is. They will sue him for breach of NDA for going through how things
That's a
work
separate
and how
issue,
they
though.
edit.
But
It's a
you
separate
still don't
issue, yeah.
sound like a raging bitch when you're doing it, though.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't sound like an
I mean, you
absolute
have to.
moron.
I mean, that's her job. Is to that's her duty basically to say that you're getting something out of this, aren't you? So basically, the duty to say that, but she has to do it. And she knows it's going to go down in flames, and you can say it nicer and get away with it.
Well, also, I'm not an attorney, but I would think you'd want to be in your best light to the jury.
Yes.
And
Yes,
even if you're going to get the
100%.
same results, if you do it in a more friendlier way, the jury won't look so negative at the legal team.
True, but do you think it could also be a tactic from Elaine to show the jury that the frustration that Amber's causing them is rubbing off on them and causing them to get frustrated themselves? Because then, depending on what the jury's opinion is of Amber, if they think Amber is this horrible person that's annoying and irritating, then you could place the frustration that's coming from her legal team straight back onto her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest that as a tactic. It's just going to worsen your chances. You want to portray if I hired you guys to represent me, I don't care if I'm a bastard or not. Make me look good.
Right. That's the I guess that's the point, right? Is that like if you're hiring an attorney and you're saying, hey, the job is to save my reputation, well, you have to throw yourself, you have to jump on the sword. Right.
Yes, I just wouldn't be able to take that case. I'd have never been able to.
That's what I was saying, Jordi. I wouldn't take that case. You wouldn't take that case, but somebody
somebody who wanted to be
Well-
out in the public eye and say I was in the Johnny Depp trial might want to do it. And
she's going to be able to sell so much cat food.
I
After
mean,
this.
she
She's going to be
clearly
top cat
wants-
food sales.
Yeah, she clearly wants that publicity.
And remember, her flavors will be mackerel and floppy fish flavored cat food. So
Well, you know,
mackerel
Elaine's
and
been
bloody
around.
chum. Yeah.
yeah.
Elaine's been around, so I mean, she could probably retire after this case.
She should.
I mean, her daughter
should.
works at the same law firm, so she probably will.
I actually think the law firm is named. I think the Bredehoff Law Firm. I think it's
Yeah,
got
so it's
her
got
name on
it's
it.
got several
unbreaded
partners on
off.
there. Yeah, it's got hers there as well.
But she might be one of the founders.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah, maybe
she
there's
is
more
one
than
of the
one.
founders. Yeah,
More than
there
one
are.
Bredehoff.
There are more than
47
one
BC.
Bredehoff. So within that company, because I looked through the company structure, you've got her and what looks to be potentially her daughter as well.
When was the firm established? I mean, it wasn't like established back when her
Oh
grandfather
my
owned
God.
I
people
think
or
it was in
something,
it was either the late 90s or early 2000s.
on. I want to
some-
show you. I want to show you guys something. I just got sent. You guys are gonna laugh.
Oh dear.
But some guy sent me this already. So he took this image here. He showed me. He literally did this during this. You know. So he took this image of us right here. Look at my eye.
Oh wow,
See?
he's giving you a black eye.
He gave me a black eye right there.
Oh,
That
sweet.
quick.
Yeah.
It's
Like
just,
during this thing.
Romeo, why did you punch Legal Mindset?
Yeah.
it's just the light.
He's like, you haven't been going on Scott's show enough lately. It's like going feature conflict. You know. Like, so, yeah. See, guys, that's
the
how
light's
easy it
coming
is to
from the
edit.
side, though. It's the occipital lobe, and
The
Yeah, it's that
occipital
side
lobe,
light.
occipital
I mean,
light, yeah.
that none of that was in Johnny's favor. But why didn't they
Hilarious.
object? Because Johnny's not an expert on photograph and stuff like that. Just because he's an actor, he's an expert on acting and making things up, but he's not an expert on how light is going to hit your face because he's not necessarily a photographer. So I would have objected, even as his own attorney, just to shut him up.
Yeah. Let me get a question here for you guys. So Miski says, what do you think will be Amber Heard's rebuttal witness? I read some of the Amber Heard might be called to the witness stand. Will it be a good strategy on Amber Heard's part? And then I had another super chat.
I mean, they've got an hour left.
Well, hold on. I've got a super
That's
chat.
all they've
from...
got?
An hour and a
Jesus.
quarter is all they've got
Nice.
left. Yeah.
So apparently, here to go. Electro Beard sent a $2 super chat. It's a DUI guy is confirming that Amber Heard is on the stand today. Now, I don't know how DUI guy would know, but I mean,
But
he
would
is in the
that
line.
be-
He's talking to people, but still, like,
Do we think that might be as part of Johnny's rebuttal or as part of Amber's rebuttal? Because if I was
Amber.
Jay, if I
Johnny's
was Jay,
team's not calling, right?
yeah, if I was, she can rebut so much of her own testimony though, just because it changes every time she says it.
Oh, if she goes up, they'll kill her on cross-examination.
Oh God, yeah, Camilla's
kill her.
going to be on fire.
Yeah,
I mean, we might
Camille's
even get
gonna
the
rip her to
holy light
pieces.
coming through the ceiling again on her.
Got it.
Well, the thing I'm interested in, apparently, a DUI guy was videoing some interaction with a Karen. Do we know anything about that?
No, we can check that later.
Yeah,
That'll be me scrolling through the
Yeah,
thing. There's probably definitely more than one Karen. Like, I guarantee you, like that was a Karen rich environment, like a Target rich
Yeah.
environment. It's a Karen rich environment.
Yeah,
What
apparently-
happened? What happened with the empty row in the court?
There's a
Was
lot of
someone
empty
look?
spaces.
Was somebody looking? There was a whole row that was
It's
empty.
not
and
COVID
I heard
spacing.
rumors.
I'll tell
No,
you
no,
that. It's
no,
not COVID
I-
spacing.
I heard rumors that DUI guy had been peeking at a laptop or something.
Well, they just moved him back 3 rows.
Because
they moved him back.
tweeted that he saw something on the Amber's counsel's laptop. Like, they weren't really
Correct.
hiding anything. They were just kind of
Right.
showing it out there for everybody. And it's like, bro, like, that's on you guys. Like, you guys fucked up.
Yeah, I was
on
gonna say
you.
that's on them, not him.
You're
I
an
mean,
open-
he's sat
you're an open
behind them.
court.
What do you expect?
Yeah, you're an open
And he's
court.
not short. He's a fairly tall guy as well, so he's going to be able to see.
Yeah,
things.
no, and guys, I see it. We got that. He saw something. I know what he saw. What he saw was a $25,000 invoice, right? So
wasn't it
thank
to
you,
another
Tiffany.
law firm?
Yes, to another law firm. So they're like contracting this work out because they're not.
But that's
able to
normal.
handle
That's normal, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
it. It's not weird at all.
Johnny Depp's got two firms working for him.
Right. Nothing's weird about this at all. The only the only thing is that it just kind of was a little egg on their face in terms of their
Yeah,
the
of course,
tightness
yeah.
of their security. But other than that, I think it's
Well,
normal.
Yeah. Don't look at the bill in court.
No,
And I think
no.
that other firm is out in Los Angeles.
It is. It's an. I know it's in. At
Who,
the very
Johnny
least, I know
or-
it's in the state of California.
Johnny or
Right.
Amber?
Ambers.
Yeah,
Same
so
as
she's
Johnny's
The one the
second-
DUI guy was looking at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. So
what I
so
gather is they've been assisting with, getting all the depositions set up, all of that, the video depositions, because they had to serve them through the clerk of court in Los Angeles and then get all that stuff arranged. So I think that firm out there is kind of their forward operating team to get all that work accomplished.
Here's a TMZ question that I didn't understand. When Elaine was asking about why that first deposition failed, who would know that deposition failed? Both legal teams would know that it didn't go correctly because both legal teams would have been in attendance.
that's true.
So what a stupid question!
Jordi, you're just thinking too much. You're not supposed to think that way. You're supposed to go, oh, Johnny, yeah.
No.
Guys, so Brettenhoff is a Virginia firm. Rottenborn is Virginia, right?
Yeah, they both work for the same firm, don't they?
Yeah, but see, with
It's a
Johnny's
DC
team,
one.
it's the same firm, Brown Rudnick. They just have
Yes.
a DC branch and a
And
California branch. This is
What
like
I want to
big
say
firm.
about Brown Rudnick is a lot of people don't realize this, but Depp swapped his legal reputation partway through the UK trial, and it was Brown Rudnick that he swapped to because they have a London office. So it's
That
the
makes
same
sense.
legal team all the way through, and this is why when things about the UK trial are being referenced, you sometimes see Johnny's team get as heated as they do because they know how much BS is being spouted by Heard's team about that UK trial.
Yeah,
Because they were there. Well, they weren't, but their other team was. But yeah,
the UK branch was there. So
Exactly.
sort of besmirching their reputation at the exact same
and
time.
they are a bloody good law firm as well. I mean,
Big law firm.
if I'd have been sticking in the law industry rather than swapping industries like I did, it was one of the firms that maybe, hopefully, in like 10 years' time, I'd have been working for.
Sounds good. Paul says, Johnny and Amber, the movie, who will play the leads? This ain't the first nor last Hollywood acrimony. I mean, they would have to get some B-list knockouts because you got to get somebody who looks like them but like isn't them. And everybody else looks too much like them, I think. Esther Jal says, can the jurors identify themselves before 1 year? So we had this motion, Jeff. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't. I have no idea.
So that's actually the one that I was showing a second ago, which I closed, which is the motion is for the jurors' identities to be sealed, right? So essentially, they don't release to the public the information of the jurors' identities. They normally do that after trials, but there can be reasons such as public backlash, which is good cause to not do that. And Amber's counsel actually filed for it. For the names to be hidden for the jurors.
One thing I will say on that is, wouldn't you also do that if you were potentially gonna try for a mistrial?
You could, but I think you might actually want to get their information out there and then say they were biased if you were going for a mistrial.
Well, now, would the motion also prevent the jurors from saying they were on the trial?
No. So my understanding of the law is that you cannot prevent them. It's meant to protect the juror. So the individual juror can choose to reveal their identity, because what's the big thing they do, right, Jeff? They write the book, right?
They write the books, go on the talk show circuits. Yeah.
I totally would. Yeah. Especially after this trial, I'd be contacting all the media outlets and going, oh, do you want my story of how I was on the jury?
Yeah. And what everybody else was thinking. But
story.
You can't, if they seal it, you can't dox the other jurors. You can't give away their information. You can talk about them generally, in the same manner that DUI guy and Ian or everybody else is talking about them, like juror number 8, juror number 6, juror number 7.
Here's a left field approach. Could they have done that to prevent any potential juror tampering getting out?
I mean, do we think? I don't know if we have evidence of juror tampering, but I mean,
I'm not saying there is evidence of it, but let's say it did happen. You could potentially do that to stop that from getting out, because then, I mean, you can't. What if I was a member of that jury and you've got that protective order, and I go to the media? I can't talk about the other jurors.
Yeah.
Well, Well, I would think not, just because if you were the tampered with juror, you wouldn't go out and advertise that after the fact, because you'd go to jail.
Yeah. No,
One thing,
go ahead, Roman.
interesting piece of information that James and Larry were talking about, DUI guy. The jurors have been trickling in and out basically on onesies, twosies on their own before and after the court date. They said now, the last few days, they've been coming from the parking lot to the courthouse as a group, and then exiting the courthouse to their cars as one big group.
That's a good sign, I think, for if that's the case. That's a good sign for John.
We're getting closer to deliberation, I think. So that's probably an ordered thing potentially, where obviously they knew it was going to be such a long trial, so potentially in the beginning they were like, you can mull around and it's not too bad. But the closer you get to deliberation, the more likely you are to have somebody potentially try and influence the jury.
Yeah, which is very true. Cupcake Popper says, question. Whoever loses and goes for appeal, can they use additional evidence, or do they have to rely on the existing information? God bless you. So unless there's something that's material and additional, they really cannot bring that in. And really, it's got to be additional about an appealable reason. So let's say they appealed for juror bias, then they could only bring in evidence as to juror bias. They can't bring in new evidence about the trial. So for example, they can't bring in extra pictures, extra testimony. Really, we got to think of it two ways. The simplest way is this. At the trial level, that is the finding of fact. All of the evidence is collected at trial. On appeal, you're arguing pure law.
Yeah.
Pure law. When I say evidence does not come in, I really mean that. It's got to be something super difficult. So for all intents and purposes, just assume appellate is pure law. You got to say legally the judge at the lower court made a mistake. That's what you're arguing at appellate level.
Would I be correct in saying that, I don't know, again, I don't know how it works over there, so you can correct me.
Sure.
If the case was if it was ever to be retried, that would mean they could bring new evidence in, depending on what that new evidence is and how material it is to the case. Am I correct?
If it was retried.
If there was a mistrial and then it's just a start, this trial never happened. You just start over.
If it was a mistrial, it's without prejudice, it's dismissed without prejudice, and there's an entirely new trial, yes, you can bring in new evidence. However, once again, when you have trials that are delayed at this point, this one's going on for years, the testimony is only going to get worse and worse and worse over time. So it's not going to be great. Due to the photo overlay, Elaine looked absolutely devastated. Kind of felt bad for her, even though she's been a clown for weeks. Don't envy their position working for someone like Amber. That's from Space Yogurt with an SEK 109. I guess is it Singapore? No, I don't know what SEK is. Maybe Swedish krona, maybe. Honestly, I will say, look, for all of meme Elaine and even Rottenborn, it sucks to work with a client like Amber Heard. That's not a lie at all. Like, and Amber Heard is the nightmare client. I imagine she subjected them to lots of verbal abuse. The only difference is they probably put up with it.
Well, they get paid apparently $6 million to put up with it. I'd probably put up with it too.
Yeah. Grimm's Bar said, speaking of SNA, how about that video? Yeah, he sent me a video. Grim, I'll play it another time if you're watching, but we'll get that one another go. Dino08 says, as much as I hate to say it, Amber Heard's final performance will be award-winning. She will put everything into it. What do you think about that, Jeff? Amber Heard is rumored to testify today. Do you think she will put everything into her performance?
If I was her, I mean, God knows what who knows what she's going to do. But if I was her, I would sit there and be just the quiet little church mouse. I'd shut my face, answer simply, humbly, not try to cry, not faking. I would just be as humble as possible. Because if she does her histrionics thing again and then gets torn apart on cross-examination, it's clearly done. That's my opinion.
But Jeff, how about if she came into the courtroom just like this?
I'd give her the win.
Have you seen this photo before, Jeff?
Yeah, and the fact that she had to write that backwards to put it in the mirror is like, I mean,
looks like skills. A serial killer when you write like this.
If she said if she wrote like that, put it in the mirror, wrote backwards, that same penmanship, that same look in her eyes, and then she dropped the sign, you'd smash.
No,
No way.
When was this
yeah.
photo
Yes,
taken?
no.
Is this an old photo?
With everything
This
I
is-
know
so,
about
so
Amber now,
Romeo,
nope.
she was sending nudes to Johnny. This is a non-nude. Well, there were nude versions without the sign. Let's put it that way, right? So she was sending nudes, and this is one that had this phrase in it. Because remember, there was that "I want you, I need you, I have you." There's right here. It's good afternoon, my beloved Tonto man. This blonde Texas bitch will eat you alive. I want, I need, give me what's mine. That's some psycho language.
Well, and the
Johnny
fact
should
that
have ran.
She couldn't.
He should have ran so fast and so far.
Now,
Well,
you mentioned that
yeah.
text.
Go
You men-
apart from the sentiment. Forget the
Yeah,
sentiment
hold
of
on.
what's
I'll
on
give you
there.
guys full screen here because you guys are.
Yeah, forget the
we're talking
sentiment and forget the crazy behind it. The telltale warning sign for me in that picture is that it was easier for her to write that entire letter backwards than it was to figure out how to flip your phone to mirror image.
I don't
That's
care
why
how
true.
good the
Yeah, she
chocha
couldn't
is.
figure out how to. Yeah,
It ain't worth it.
Romeo with the base take. This shit is not worth it. This
Nah,
is
that
not
chick
worth
is
it.
not worth it at all.
It's not worth it, guys. That
mean-
craziness is not worth it. I'm going to tell you right now.
You
Yeah.
mentioned that text because part of that text is kind of in that sign. What I don't understand is how have they pinned that text to Johnny? Because from what I saw, it was a group chat. It was clearly taken from one of the other people's phone because it said incoming, which means it could have been sent from Johnny or the third participant in that thing. And we didn't see anything that clearly identified that it was Johnny sending that text.
and
I
neither
haven't
side
gone
caught
back
it.
to the video. but
No,
they were
neither side
live
mentioned it.
blacking out the number. So for a
They
portion
blacked
of
out-
the,
yeah.
of the live feed, you could actually see the telephone number, or at least partial of that.
Yeah.
phone
Well, you
number.
could see all the telephone numbers that were involved in the group chat, though. It didn't specify which. It specified
Yeah.
which telephone number was receiving the text message. Then in the next column, it had the telephone numbers of both of the other participants. And then in the next column, it said him. And then in the next column, it had the text message.
Well, that's the thing. There was more than two numbers, and they had the incoming, and nobody caught that on either side.
Well,
And
I
don't
mean,
they
I
have
think
billing
that's
records
why they redacted it so
to go
quickly.
along with
Or
this?
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah,
if these
no,
are
I get that.
iMessage or group text message. If they're iMessage, it won't come up. But if they're group text message, if any of it's coming through Texas, you'd have that itemized on a bill with the
Yeah.
numbers.
Of course
phone
you
numbers,
would, yeah.
Inbound, outbound.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what it is, do we? We don't know if it's SMS. We don't know if it's iMessage. We don't know if it's WhatsApp.
Yeah, we have no
'cause
idea.
that
We don't have
calculates the
WhatsApp,
phone
Telegram,
number.
like whatever. It could be anything, right? We have no fucking clue. And they didn't provide any. They didn't provide any of the devices. So from what I know, just the.
See that's what I find a bit weird. I know that Johnny handed over the devices that he had, and that's
What
clearly
about
how
Amber,
they.
though?
And that's what I mean. Amber doesn't seem to have handed any of her devices over. I mean, even
She
the
said
dude
she,
about the
she
images said that.
she said she handed the text messages and pictures and video over, but not
Yeah,
the devices.
But I was going to say the pictures all came from iCloud backup. I would assume that some of her messages would have come from like iCloud backups or iOS backups and things like that, and even SIM card backups because you can back up text messages onto a SIM card these days.
Mhm.
And it just seems like they've done that rather than handing the devices over. And again, if with the knowledge that I have, and I do think some people on that jury are going to be technologically intelligent, I think that is going to be something they potentially pick up on is why weren't these devices handed over? What is she hiding?
Right. I mean, that's a damn good point. Real quick, Torthio, no, they cannot bring JD back to counter text. They brought JD back once, and I think that's it.
I mean, it all depends if Amber's team brings her up, and then they bring up text messages, and then Johnny's team crosses on it.
Yeah, and let me
But
be clear
I
here.
don't think
'cause
they will.
Somebody brought this up to me privately, and I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't always get updated on all the drama that goes down, but somebody said DUI guy, like someone's hating on him or whatever. I don't know what's going on. But
Yeah, that was the Karen thing, I think.
yeah, whatever. So I sent him a message saying, hey, look, like if you want to come on, like you're always happy to come on my show. I just assumed that he would reach out to me if he wanted to come on, but I reached out to him and gave him some love real quick privately in a DM. So, I said, hey, you're happy to come on anytime. You're always welcome on my channel. So, just gave him a little bit of love there. And he's in the group text with all of us. So, So yeah,
He's doing a
got
really good job this morning.
Yeah, he's got an invite. So so he's got an invite to come on whenever. I like the guy. I think he's a good guy.
That DUI guy's great.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would be beefing with him. He seems just a really nice guy. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
It's more than likely Team Amber.
Probably because he's a meme. Because of he became a meme with the.
Yeah.
When we were talking, because of the type of questions I was running by Larry, he goes,
"Yeah,
are you an attorney?" And I said, "No." I whispered in his ear what I used to do, and he's like,
Nice.
"Oh."
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. To run through these super chats here, Amber's team was messing around so much with disco handover that the expert was very limited info to work with to begin with. To check out Tug for more. Definitely check out Tug's videos. He has some good stuff. Runkle used Axie and effectively made him into court. So Runkle is in the court.
Oh, good.
Yes, Runkle is in today. Yeah,
Runkle is in, guys. Nice. We got a Canadian in, which means we got at least one person. I
believe we've got all three today. I believe we've got DUI guy, James, and Ian.
Lawn Lumber.
All three of it.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Rob's
James got in. He was with the DUI guy.
Vanessa got in as well.
Oh, got it. Vanessa's in as well. Okay, so we got four.
Oh, nice. We got all of them.
I think Rob has court.
Yeah, Rob has court, but I think
tough
he's
for
going to
Rob.
try and he's going to try and go tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, isn't it?
For closings.
Is tomorrow Friday?
Yes, tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah. Sorry, do you know what? I haven't slept properly.
No.
Yeah, well, join the crowd.
And then we're in Korea, so our time zones are all fucked anyway. So like, it's I get it. Trust me.
And everything that could go wrong with work this morning did go wrong. Literally, like 4 of my reports that I have to deal with broke, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Okay, Murphy, get your law in effect. Do you think Amber going back to stand is strategic by her team? Amber demanding it or a Hail Mary? I think it is Amber demanding it. I think that Amber wanted to get the last word. I don't think it's smart, but I think that she needs to do it anyways. DL says, so Bill Gates is irrelevant? Wait, how the hell did Bill Gates get involved in this? I don't know how Bill Gates got involved, but Martian Mandango says, if Amber Heard wants to cry in the stand today, all she needs to do is get 30 tacos from Taco Bell with fire sauce. She'll sweat and cry and show true hurt and pain. Apparently, Jeff, is there a Taco Bell in Busan?
There is not. There is only the one in Seoul remaining.
There's one in Seoul, and apparently there's one in the airport. So I'm going to find out tomorrow whether or not there's one in the airport. I'm flying back to the United States. So,
and I know how Bill Gates got brought into it.
How?
It's because we were talking about how tech people have no qualifications and how Amber's team were trying to say that people who having no qualifications know nothing. Bill Gates dropped out of education, didn't he?
That's true, and so did like Paul Allen did the same. I mean, like a lot of those guys who are successful dropped out.
Yeah, Mark did. Yeah.
Yep. Well, he already had something. Why do you need college?
I was gonna say he had Facebook.
What about Dorsey? Did Dorsey drop out? I can't remember.
Probably. I think Dorsey did drop out. Dorsey looks like he dropped out, like in general.
She just dropped out. Yeah,
of like life.
Out of a tree.
Not in school, but like life. The untimely hippo says, what I think people are missing is the photos were a screenshot of a copy of a copy of a copy, so no one can tell where the originals are not. I think that's what we were getting at earlier with the authentication. Like, we just can't authenticate those photos. We don't know based on the data that we have. We can't authenticate them.
That shocked me when he came out with them and said that they weren't even the actual photos from the iCloud backup. They were Microsoft screen grabs of those photos, which is even worse. I was like, what on earth are you doing? As soon as you've taken that screen grab, you've changed it completely because you're now using Microsoft's screenshot software to take the image, which is going to compress it, change the resolution. Idiots.
Yeah. Why do you think Amber? Why didn't they bring Amber Heard's ballet video into evidence? There's probably a relevance objection, and they're I don't know. I mean, it seems like yes, it could be relevant, but it also could be they could have ruled it's more prejudicial than probative. I'm not sure. The unfortunate thing is, guys, when something doesn't come in, oftentimes we don't get a reason, so we're just speculating. The judge might have ruled that it's not relevant, frankly. I think that's the best objection I've got for that. Our professor once told us, if you can't explain what you're doing, you've got no clue what you're doing. That's the big difference between Dr. Curry and Dr. Hughes. 100%. Same thing with Richard Marx and Catherine Arnold.
Same thing with Chanel and Banya, although Banya wasn't that much better, but at least he was a little bit better.
Better than Schnell. I mean, which, isn't saying much, but yeah.
Don't get me wrong. No. I liked Schnell. I liked him. I just think that he conducted his analysis in an improper way. Like, the data he had was probably sound. I just don't think his analysis was sound at all.
Yeah. Heather says, for $5 says, that's true. In computer science, programming, data science, a degree is literally not required. You have to just know what you're doing. Yeah, I have a friend, Josh. He teaches, developers, coders, and pretty much he's like, no matter who you are, as long as you got the drive and you really want to do it, he can teach you to code in 3-6 months and get you going and get you a job. It's totally possible. In that world, you do not need to go to a accredited university to get some certificate or some fucking piece of paper that tells you what you can or cannot do. Blue-eyed Roof Korean says, put Depp on to bait Rottenborn plus entertain juries. Well, they already did that. Depp's gone on, so
I think that's what he was saying, because we were asking what's the point of putting Depp up, and I think that's what he was saying, to rile up Rottenborn. But all it did was I heard somebody in LawTube say it yesterday, and they hit the nail on the head. You give a lawyer the bite of the apple once, and they're going to do good. You give them the same bite of the same apple a second time, they are going to absolutely hit it out of the park.
They're going to destroy
He mirrored
you,
Camille. Yeah. He mirrored Camille. His cross-exam was on point yesterday of JD.
Yep, and they got him there. They kind of nailed him for doing that. Rocket the Beagle says JD to win on digital tweet would, as long as the closing explains exactly how the tweet wasn't a retweet and an attachment of an article process showing Amber Heard had to know its title. Well, I think he wins. The winning is whether or not the SV is true or not. And yeah, that's
to be able for them to determine whether the essay is true, they first have to determine whether she published the headline, because you've got to remember, she's claiming that the headline had nothing to do with her. So they've got to see that tweet as her actually republishing that headline before they can even rule on whether the essay claiming the headline is true or not.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
Kyle,
people in Hollywood,
Go ahead.
I hope people in Hollywood, these actors, actresses, that they take a look at this case and they have some lessons learned. How to conduct themselves, what to put in social media, all of that. This is a great learning experience for people in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, and exactly. Could not concur more. I think they need to learn how to conduct themselves, and also going forward, what the standard is for what you say and what you publish about each other. And I think even if this was okay, even if Amber Heard wins here, I think you don't publish a statement like this because it's too close, right? A reasonable jury could have ruled otherwise, even if Amber Heard ends up winning, which I don't think she will, but let's say she does. Even so, I think this has people scaling back what they're willing to publish about somebody else.
Do you think this will affect the movie studios and how they write their contracts?
They could
actors and actresses.
No, I think the option contracts are very open, right? Because that's the whole point, is that they never had to take on Amber Heard. They never had to option her to select her for a future movie. So I think that's already there.
I do think a lot of studios will probably start reducing the number of renegotiations now, though, because it does seem like, from what people have said, that it is fairly common practice among some studios and non-studio films. And obviously Warner Bros said that they used to have that kind of policy, but when Hamada took over the DCEU section, he wanted to stop doing that kind of thing. So I think more studios will jump on stopping renegotiation because that way it potentially stops them being dragged into defamation cases like this. Because if there's no chance of your contract being renegotiated and you've already been paid, you've not lost anything. Therefore, you've got no damages in a sense of employment earnings.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I know we always hear mentions of a morals clause or this, but there's also something called suitability.
Yeah. Let me look here. Okay. Next one here was Legal Mindset's reaction to TMZ guy calling out Elaine was second best after DUI guy. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I almost Rittenhouse that one. It was like very close. Brandon Judge says, love all the coverage and legal vices. I envy the glorious stash. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Man, you've already got the stash fans out there, legal vices. Just Me Nicole says, what about Jennifer's ex saying on the stand that they used Amber Heard's phone to avoid bias planned much. Yeah, that sounded weird. I didn't put much into that one, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that particular line jumped out because I didn't even think of it till now. Highlight of yesterday was Dr. Curry, both her complete dissection of Amber and Dr. Hughes. And your reaction on Rakita's screen when Dr. Curry put on the glasses and leaned over. Okay, let me see if I can find it, guys.
Yeah.
We called me out here, so I gotta
Andrew,
show
you being a little
you.
simp.
I gotta show you my simping.
Again, it's not a simping thing.
It's appreciation, guys. I paid.
Appreciation.
I did not pay a single dollar to Dr. Curry. She is giving away this mommy energy 100% for free.
Hey.
Look at Andrew Bronca over here, and then me just like, bro.
I'll tell you, I'm just trying to look down more, but I loved other Andrew's comment. He said, "Well, now we know why the bottle's shaped that way." That was my favorite comment of the night.
I had you guys. I had Nick's stream on one device, and I had Legal Bites on another device. And when that happened, Kurt from Uncivil Law, I thought he was just going to pass out. I mean, he was just like.
Yeah. My wife's within earshot, so no comment.
Kurt was hurting. He was.
Kurt. I love Kurt, though. I do love Kurt. All right, guys. So let me continue on here. What do you got? So Van Ray Lowell says the empty row was because DUI guy leaked on his Twitter that he saw everything on his laptop. Okay, so they're trying to space him out a little. Melly P says, or if your millionaire boyfriend wants to buy a juror off, well, that would be a crime. That is a crime. So, let's just be very fucking clear there. Jonathan, use those supposed comps to play Amber in the turd. So the comps. So imagine like Amber is played by Zendaya. And,
Jason's played by Johnny's played by Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa, yes,
Oh,
that'd
nice.
be fucking great.
Have you seen the memes on TikTok where they pull up a live video testimony and it's just Jason Momoa shitting all over Amber Heard?
It's so good. It's so good. Sama Pina says, this is a random question. What happens if a juror dies unexpectedly or gets into an accident? How do they get a replacement? Well, that's why they have two alternates. So they have two alternates in case one of the jurors gets sick. I mean, unfortunately, yes, death is an option, right? Death is always an option. So if a juror was to die, they have two backups. Hopefully 3 jurors don't die. That would be real bad, but that's why they, are not related, right?
I shouldn't laugh, but you say death is an option, like they're choosing it.
I mean, come on. It used to be like, like back in the day. Think about it like back in the 1800s or 1700s, man. You could get, someone's got the vapors, or someone's got the bloody flux, or whatever other disease coming across. The plague. Who knows?
Back then, they got diarrhea. They died.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true.
They would die of water loss from diarrhea. Which, if you think we have it bad, the worst we're dealing with now is whether or not, you're going to get.
We lost a couple of presidents that way.
That's true. Tom Grawl says Amber's psychologist reminds me of the movie Phantasm.
Wow, that's a good throwback.
That's a really good one.
Impixel says my past partner harassed me and made my life miserable, sending so much love to Depp and his counsel. I think that's a lot of people, by the way. That's not just that. Andy the Game Maker, by the way, shout out to you, Andy. Andy, I can't wait to see you at the end of the month, man. We're going to bro down, bring some games. It said, congrats on 60K subs. Good morning, big dog. Good morning to you as well. Next, Henry says, panel thoughts about airport testimony. Do you guys know any airport testimony?
The airport worker?
The airport. Yeah. Was that the arresting officer, or was it just somebody who worked in the airport?
Okay.
The arresting officer.
The Talisa, or Talia, whatever her name is.
Yeah, it was the security cop, not the arresting officer.
Yeah. Okay. But that's hilarious because at first, by the way, Amber tried to say they were sexist and like misogynistic and stuff. And then she found out it was a lesbian. And it was like, well, they're structurally powerful. The police as a structure are powerful. I'm like, you are such a lying piece of shit right now. It's disgusting. Phil Abodi says the Amber Heard crazy backwards letter photo is what my cop friends call a traffic incident. You hit and run.
Yeah,
and
it's-
ghost.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
That's what I'm saying. You
make
smash
sure
it once,
you're-
smash and dash.
Make sure when you smash, you're doing that with appropriate levels of protection. If you've got to use the Drake method of hot sauce, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hugh Jazz says it's clearly not his text, taken from his phone, him as owner. He submitted it. And there's a link here to the picture of the text. So thank you for that. With
Dude has
GAR.
also submitted his phone as well. That's why I'm saying it could have been taken from his, because he did submit his.
So that is possible, right?
Yeah.
Easy says, doesn't Amber Heard get a rebuttal due to counterclaim? Yes, he does. It's limited only to that. Strictly limited to that.
And she'll only get the 1 hour that she's got.
So that and minus whatever she uses
Yeah,
for
so
cross.
she's got 1 hour 14 minutes. Do we know who Johnny's bringing on as his last witness?
We
'Cause
have
I'm
no
out of
clue.
ideas.
We have
I mean,
no clue.
I'd like to see a metadata
Wait.
expert to talk about the
Hold on.
metadata from Johnny's devices at least.
He hasn't brought on the flight attendant, has he?
No, we haven't
Does
heard
she
from the flight
exist?
attendant. Yeah, that's what I was
Alleged.
thinking.
She's on the witness list.
She's on the alleged witness list from like Court TV, isn't she? And from those places, and they've been very wrong in the past.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
just
I'm not
assumed she was a
thinking too
fictional
much on it.
character
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you just don't fuck with flight attendants and stay out of jail.
That's it.
So true. That's so true.
Doesn't matter who you are and how rich you are, you're not avoiding that one.
100%. In Pixel says, as a graphic and photographer, I would have made bank as an expert witness. Lol.
Do it.
Yeah, for sure. Valiant Renegade says, good morning, LawTube. 499. Thank you so much. Hey, Valiant.
Morning.
I'll send you a link tonight. I'm giving you a break today, buddy. You've been a fucking soldier. Minsky says, calling JD to the stand again might be a strategy. Maybe they know Amber Heard might react and demand that she wants to go to the stand again. She always needs to outdo anything Johnny does. That's true. That's true. Jordi and Romeo, what are their YouTube channels? I don't think they have YouTube channels. Romeo, you don't have a
No,
YouTube
I don't
channel,
have
do you?
YouTube. channel.
Yeah, so they do not have YouTube channels. Jordi has a Twitch and a Twitter. I'll put that in the description below, and Legal Vice as well. You all know Legal Vices. He's now an OG.
I'm not a fan of social media. My family, we don't do Snapchat, Instacrap. You know, I call it Snapchat,
Instacrap,
Instacrap.
that's
All this
brilliant.
garbage. We have,
Well-
Facebook locked down. It's not distributed. It's only family members. Because all this social media stuff does is get people in trouble, get kids in trouble. And it's a waste of time when you're stuck on a damn device all day long, every second. I mean, God, live your life. Get outside, do stuff, you know?
Yes, 100%. And that's a different generational view, bro. That's huge different generational view. Huge different generational view. And I agree with it, by the way. I think people do need to get out and do stuff because the world is a pretty fucking amazing place if you just go out and do stuff.
I'm going to throw this out there. My daughter, since she doesn't have this stuff on her phone, most of her friends do. Her friends have had problems where one of her girlfriends, a boy in another school tried to kidnap her as the girls were outside the house playing.
Crazy.
The kid, 14 years old, steals a car, shows up here with knives and guns, kidnaps the girl, goes near in a neighborhood. We all go running out the house looking for her in the stolen vehicle. The kid has a gun, starts shooting at the father, who's standing down 50 feet from me and my daughter. We're on the phone with the cops. As I'm on the phone with dispatch, dispatch hears the call taker. She hears the shots ringing out. Previously found out that a few days before, the kid broke into their guns. We just had a teacher, her former middle school teacher, who's one of these critical race theories, Black Lives Matter, white girl pushing all this stuff. You know, they follow. What's that black guy that's pushing all this?
Ibram X. Kendi. Ibram X. Kendi had to be an anti-racist.
They preach all this stuff and follow him like he's the second Messiah.
Right.
She just got busted for child pornography on Snapchat because she was trading pictures and contacting minors, and the National Children's for Missing and Exploited Center saw this traffic, got her IP address, gave it to Fairfax County PD. They went and locked her up last week.
As they should.
And all this stuff is coming about because these idiots are so hooked on this social media crap. It's just not good for the mental health of kids and people, adults. These adults can't control themselves, and and here they are so crazy on this political crap, and then they turn around and are trying to go after the kids for naked pictures and sex talk and crap.
Yeah.
I just, and they're women. A lot of these guys, I mean, we get a lot of men that do this, but a lot of these are women that are young,
that's the
28,
key there.
30 years old.
That's the key, is that people need to be exposed to the fact that women are committing these crimes too. And that's why #men2 is so important. That's why the long-term consequence of #men2 is so important, because a lot of times we see this, and people in the law tube have been covering this, but I think normal people are learning that these female psychopaths do exist. Just like there are male bad characters, there's female bad actors as well. And oftentimes, especially at the high school level with these high school teachers, that's the best example. The high school teacher that runs away with the high school student, if it's a guy, they're punished and lock them up, throw away the key. But if it's a female teacher with a male student, oh no, slap on the wrist, send them their way, give them probation, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. They're high-fiving the kid who was abused. I mean, it's really problematic to put the least, and it's certainly not equal.
Get this. So we have a very liberal George Soros funded Commonwealth attorney in Fairfax County, Steve Descano. And so she gets arrested for these felonies. They ROR'd her.
ROR means, guys, ROR means release on your own recognizance. So pretty much let you go.
Yeah. By the time they processed her, booked her, processed her, they kicked her. They let her go on ROR. Unbelievable.
Really crazy. Guys, we got a little bit of time for the everything starts here. So I'm going to do a really speed round in these super chats. So if Amber goes to the stand today, could you only talk about the counterclaim since she's rebutting? Yes, that's from Ashley. Ellen says, back in the 90s and early 2000s, IT ed was way behind due to education. All went to work in the field to keep up. P.S. Bill Gates was in my husband's class at Harvard. Awesome. Miro says, can Amber Heard bribe a jury member? No, she would go to jail. Next is from Chuck Strum, says, how do photos not original and unable to analyze metadata get entered into evidence? Well, they did. So, I mean, they're offered, they're accepted. Johnny Depp's counsel failed to object to them vigorously. Juan De Silva said, heart to all of LawTube. So happy some of you guys can get in the court. SC engineer here. The degree is the way to learn things you wouldn't normally. Coding is a minor part of the job. I understand that. Let's Be Real says, legal mindset screenshot Dr. Curry for his spank bank. That was on my Twitter, which I guess Twitter can qualify as a spank bank. David Stowe says, how bad has Elaine looked to you when trying to do any cross-examination that involved tech or social media? She's IRL version of old man yells at cloud memes. Such a boomer look, if you ask me. More than that, she was just abrasive and off-putting. I can forgive somebody for being old and not knowing how to work technology. We actually had in the Kim Potter case, this guy, Earl Grey, who was about as ancient as dirt. He looked like Grandfather Time, but he was lovably. He was like an affable old man, that you forgave him for his not knowing how to use technology. It was cute. Right? Versus, Elaine, who's more boorish. Max Mura with the 250 yen says, just finished a meeting, sign in and see boobies. Yes, Max, I know that's what you're looking for. You Japanese pervert. I know exactly what you're looking for. Hunch the Dirty Roofer said, hey guys, what happened to Katie Holmes after the first Nolan Batman? Similar career trajectory to Amber Heard. I don't know about Katie Holmes. I actually don't know anything else she's been in.
Didn't she basically become a nobody after it?
Yeah, so maybe she would have been a better comp. Maybe that would have been a better comp.
It certainly didn't give her a meteoric rise.
No, not at all. No meteors there. Not at all. Steve says, followed the glorious mustachio band here. I still maintain the Mad Doc is Trevor escaped from GTA.
That's not it. It's Dr. Doofenshmirtz escaped from Phineas and Ferb.
Question: if Amber loses, will she appeal? She can appeal. Whether she will appeal is up to whether or not she has the money to appeal. Is Daddy Elon going to pay for it? Is she going to start an OnlyFans? Like, how's she going to fund this? Like, how's she going to get the money?
Her current law firm can refuse to do it, so she would potentially have to find a new law firm ananyway. I mean, I certainly would if I was Elaine's company. I'd be like, no thanks, we lost. We don't need to appeal. We're just going to lose it.
And most trial lawyers do not also do appeals. Yeah, that's a very important fact.
Correct.
OmniHelix says, if Amber Heard takes the stand, Camille will crucify over TMZ 100%. The next one, we have a comment about the flight attendant being one that's going to come out today. That's very possible. Next, we got it's Phil Boody, and I'm using hot sauce. I'm going crazy. Balls to the wall, and I'm using hot sauce as lube. Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah, you're using it wrong. Don't use it as lube.
And Pixel says, loving this great coverage on this channel. P.S. Can you do a hearsay mug? Hoping that this is changing the way IPV is used. 100%. By the way, guys, if you like the merch, I've updated my store. I now have hoodies here and other wearables. If you guys have anything else you want me to add, let me know. But I added the hashtag Amber Turd stuff. So you got all sorts of Amber Heard merch, or turd merch here for your turdly needs. This is just for the lulz, guys, but it's legalmindsetstore.creatorspring.com. I'll put that in the chat. But that being said, guys, seriously, let me thank my panel here. Legal Vice.
Hey, one last thing.
Romeo, yes, go ahead.
That might be pertinent. Sorry. On your list of super chats, they talked about the metadata and all that. There was a motion for sanctions.
Yeah.
That was filed back in March, and the guy that testified yesterday he did a report in that attached to that motion for sanctions about why the data could not be analyzed. There was never a ruling on that, and so something on the lines of that motion for sanction may come out in jury instructions, possibly.
It is possible. I mean, it's possible. We can have some big changes in the jury instructions, and they can still be modified after today.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the final issuance is. That's going to be big as far as how all this evidence that has been entered is evaluated.
100%. This last one here, Satali Jabir says, I would probably change the name of the title of this video. Oh, no, I'm not changing it. As I explained in the beginning, today is the last day of court. This is Johnny's last chance, right? If he's got any evidence, he's got to put it on today. This is it. It is do or die. Tomorrow's closing arguments. There's no more new evidence that comes tomorrow. You can't add any. Johnny cannot add anything tomorrow. If he wants to add anything, it's too late. It's done. It's over for Johnny. So today is Johnny's last chance. If there's something he needs to put out there into the record, today's his last chance. So I stand by my titles. I always stand by my titles. People accuse me of clickbait, but every single time I will tell you exactly why I did it. That being said, guys, I know we're about to start here, so I don't want to keep you guys too much. Thank you, everybody on the panel. Stick around for 2 seconds, you guys. But everybody out there in the audience, I will catch you later. Peace.